Naruto God Level System, Chapter 1101-1129. Chapter 1101. Wujishi 2 inches Chen, you guys are back, by the way. Did you see Kudo Yasaka outside? After Chen and Xiaoai entered the room, Mingmei asked Chen. I met. Chen nodded towards Mingmei. Oh, then did he say anything to you? Mingmei looked at Chen with curiosity in her eyes, not knowing when it started. Mingmei's curiosity also became serious. I didn't give him a chance to say anything at all. Chen sat on the sofa and leaned on Hermod beside him. Belmod pushed Chen for a while, but found that after he couldn't push it, he didn't continue, and resignedly acquiesced. Mr. Judy, are you here too? Chen looked at Judy. I thought you wouldn't see me. Judy said in a low voice. She said this for a reason, probably because 1 or 3 zeros was often ignored by Chen. Of course it's impossible not to see, as long as it's a beautiful woman, I can see it. Chen said with a smile. Judy's heart skipped a beat. Is she saying that she is a beauty? Judy's face Jonan couldn't help showing a hurt expression. But this expression was immediate, fleeting, as if it had never appeared before, because she didn't want to show it in front of the woman Belmod. But even though Judy's shy expression subsided quickly, she was still seen by Chen. Chen couldn't help but smile. To be frank, still. It was the first time I saw Judy look so shy. By the way, what are you doing, Judy? Chen asked Judy. Learn ninjutsu, and her by the way. Judy Qiguang became completely cold when she saw Belmod. These days, Judy has gotten along well with Akemi, Kuroba Chikage and the others, but with Belmod. To be honest, Judy hated Belmod so much that she was an enemy after all, but it was really strange to hate that. You two are fighting. Chen couldn't help asking them. That's right, if it wasn't for my mercy, she would be a corpse now. Belmod smiled lightly, and then said, don't think that if you show mercy, I will be grateful to you. Judy snorted coldly. Even showing mercy to her won't change Judy's hatred for Belmod. I never expected you to be grateful to me, Belmod said flatly. Seriously, Belmod didn't expect Judy to appreciate her at all, and of course she had a reason for showing mercy to Judy's men. After all, Belmod is usually ruthless, and the reason why he is merciful to Judy. Naturally there is a reason. Chen, I need to ask you something. Judy said to Chen. Please. Chen was stunned for a moment, and looked at Judy in surprise. This is probably the reason why Judy stayed here and didn't leave. Okay, what are you talking about? Chen didn't agree first. After all, if Chen didn't agree with what Judy brought up, of course Chen would refuse. Aren't you going to agree first? Of course not. I'm not stupid. If you say something that I can't do, what should I do? Chen shrugged and said, I remember you said before that you can do anything. Judy Shang Chen said. This was not made up by Judy. Judy clearly remembered that Chen did say this. Did I really say it? Even if I did, it was made up by me. Chen waved to Judy. Okay, to tell you the truth, it's actually for you. It's not difficult, I just want to ask you to take the time to teach me. Judy said to Chen seriously. This is it. Chen touched his chin, and then fell into deep thought. How? What are you thinking about? After watching Chen pondering for a long time, Judy couldn't help asking Chen aloud, why don't you talk? Ahem, I actually don't have time. You know, it's very tiring to guide other people's lives, so I don't want to. Chen spread his hands and said. Just tell Judy the truth, but don't want to. Let's talk about it. Judy doesn't give herself any reward. If there is any reward that can attract him, Chen may be really unscrupulous once. Only but it's not good now. It's not a good thing. To be honest, Chen really has no interest at all. You just refused so directly. This is a request from a beautiful woman. Judy said angrily. You are right, you are indeed beautiful, but Judy, look, there is no one worse than you here. Chen said to Judy with a smile. Judy looked around. Although she didn't want to admit it, Judy knew. There's really nothing worse than her, or even prettier than her. I'm your teacher, you really can't you help me, times. Judy couldn't help but continued to Shang Chen. Since you are my teacher, you should help me. Chen is not moved at all. Anyway, if there is no good situation, Chen will never waste his time. Even if Judy is a beauty, it will not work. After all, she is a beauty but not her own, so naturally Chen will not interested. Then talk about it. What conditions do you need to help me? Judy asked Chen helplessly. No conditions. I just want to be a salted fish. Say it again. Your talent is not very good. I feel like a waste of time. Chen felt that he didn't want to waste time. If he had time, he might as well go out and play. Why would a runner help? This is what Chen thought. You said my talent is not very good. Judy heard the words, looking at Chen with a bit of depression. Yeah, I feel that your talent is not very good. In fact, it is not very good. Chen nodded. Anyway, Judy is definitely not a genius at 3.9. It's quite satisfactory. It's a lot worse than Xiao Ai, of course. Xiao Ai is the most talented among them. I think you are hit me on purpose. Judy said angrily. No, don't think like that. I absolutely don't have the idea. Chen directly shook his head and denied that he had absolutely no such idea. In fact, Chen really didn't have such an idea. By the way, Chen, have you eaten? Mingmei asked Chen at this time, and it was a direct hit. Cut off the topic of Judy, but even so, Judy is not going to let the car go. Feeling the strength of Belmod, Judy feels that she will never be able to take revenge for the rest of her life. After all, when she becomes stronger, Belmod is also getting stronger, so Judy can only find other ways now. The only way she can think of is to find Chen. Chapter 1102. So ruthless. 2. The next morning, after Chen opened the door, she saw Judy standing at Chen's door. Judy didn't leave yesterday, she simply lived here, and Chen's house was enough to live in, so it was no problem for Judy to live here. Mr. Judy, shouldn't you come over too early? Chen looked at Judy and asked speechlessly. Yes, I came here at 5 o'clock in the morning and have been waiting here. Judy nodded to Chen honestly and earnestly. I know you want me to teach you. But I'm actually not suitable for teaching you. Chen said to Judy, while he spread his hands helplessly. Why? Judy frowned slightly, feeling that Chen was just perfunctory her. Wasn't Belmod's ninjutsu taught by Chen? This is absolutely impossible. Since she can teach Belmod, why can't she teach her? Judy felt a little dissatisfied in her heart, and also felt that Chen was disgusting her. Why? If you insist on 29 to know why, it's not that I can't tell you, it's just that I'm a bit lazy right now, so you should be clear. Chen said seriously to Judy, mainly Chen lazy, it's not that he doesn't know how to teach, he just doesn't want to be so troublesome. If you have this time, isn't it bad to sit down and drink tea? Even if you don't want to drink it, you can watch TV or read comics. Chen is used to living like a salted fish now. That's right, after coming to the world of Conan, Chen lived a life of this kind of salted fish, and Chen was already used to such a life. You really can't teach me. Judy moved closer to Chen and Chen also found out. Judy is wearing something sexy today. Is this trying to come over to confuse him? Chen thought of this. He raised his brows involuntarily, and then stared at Judy. Judy was also staring at Chen seriously at this time, with stubbornness in her eyes. It looks like it's pretty fun. Okay, don't show such an expression to me. People who don't know still think I'm bullying you on purpose. Chen looked at Judy's expression and couldn't help but said. Then you promise to teach me. Judy's moonlight lit up slightly, looking at Chen seriously. Chen Wenyan couldn't help but pouted. Did you think of a name? When did I promise you? It is absolutely impossible to promise you. No, I didn't agree. It's too troublesome. You'd better study with Ming Chai. Ming may seem to be able to teach Judy now. No one else has time either. Karoba Cheekage is just a bottle of unsatisfactory rice swaying around. Apart from Karoba Cheekage, Yukiko is the same, not to mention Yukiko is not at home now, and Yukiko is staying at Fei Yingri's side. As for Yuhiko, it's not bad, but Yuhiko may not have time. Yuhiko still needs to study magic. Although he has learned ninjutsu now, Yuhiko has not given up studying magic. If you don't agree, then I'll follow you all the time. Judy has no other way. As long as Chen doesn't agree, Judy will always follow. If she wants to defeat Belmod, it seems that only Chen can help her. So Judy really has nothing to do. Can only come to Chen. Okay. I heard Chen say okay. Judy thought that Chen had compromised, and a smile appeared on her face. Just follow if you want. I don't care. Chen smiled at Judy. It really doesn't matter. With the beautiful woman Judy following her, Chen still feels a little happy in her heart. Why should she refuse? Chen, are you really that ruthless towards your teacher? Judy looked at Chen with a resentful look. Ting, don't say I'm ruthless. I don't think I'm ruthless, and I don't think even if I teach you, you won't be able to improve your strength quickly. Chen said to Judy seriously. This is not Chen's presence lies to fool Judy, but seriously. Judy's strength has now reached a bottleneck. It is impossible for her to reach the sky in one step. She can only cultivate slowly. There is no good way to do this. It's just that Judy has been trying to rush things. Judy is desperate to beat Belmod. Don't say that Chen can't help Judy, even if Chen can really help Judy. He wouldn't even think about it. It is impossible for Chen to help Judy defeat Belmod. After all, Belmod is his woman. And the relationship between Chen and Judy, Shang Duo, is already a good friend. I found that you just didn't want to teach me that. Judy found it at this time, and looked at Chen depressed. It seems that you found it. That's great. Yes, I really don't have time to teach you anything right now. Chen nodded earnestly. Are you afraid that I will defeat Belmod? Judy looked at Chen, wanting to see what Chen's expression was like. Chen smiled strangely, and then shook her head at Judy. Judy, this is impossible. There is no way you can beat Belmod. Chen reached out and patted Judy on the shoulder, then said to Judy. Why is it impossible? Judy looked at Chen with some bullshit and felt that Chen was clearly facing the woman. In fact, Judy was right. Chen, there will definitely be more towards Belmore. Who knows who is closer to Chen? What do you think is the strength gap between you and Belmore? Chen did not answer Judy's words. Instead, he asked Judy. Listen to Chen's question. Judy frowned and fell into deep thought. After a long time, Judy looked up at Chen and said depressedly, although I don't want to admit it, there is a big gap between my strength and hers. When she fought before, she was defeated by Belmod with just a few moves. Even if it wasn't for Belmod's mercy, now that she is cool, she can go to heaven to find her father. Yes, your strength is improving, but Belmod is not idle either. Chen said to Judy, although Belmod doesn't go out every day at home, and doesn't seem to practice all day, but Belmod really works hard. This is what Mingmei told Chen. Originally, Belmod's the talent is better than that of Judy, plus Belmod is also working hard. What does Judy do to catch up with Belmod? It is precisely because of this. So Chen will say that Judy will never be able to defeat Belmod. At this time, Judy's expression is a little dazed, and there is some emptiness in her eyes. Obviously she has been hit. Is it impossible to defeat Belmod? What's the point of her efforts now? Does it really make no sense at all? Judy is at a loss. Chapter 1103. I am a good person. Looking at the dazed Judy, Chen couldn't help shaking his head, as if the blow to Judy was a bit serious. But Chen also wanted to make Judy recognize this fact, not to mention that even if Judy had the strength to avenge, Chen would stop Judy. Belmod is his own woman. Of course Chen will not let his woman have any trouble. Don't disturb Judy for now. Chen bypassed Judy and walked towards the kitchen, thinking that Mingmei is up now. Sure enough, when he came to the kitchen, he did find Mingmei standing in the kitchen, preparing breakfast. Chen, you came in. Did you see Judy before? Mingchai turned his head and said to Chen after hearing the movement from behind. When Mingmei got up before, I saw Judy standing at Chen's door. She also deliberately went over to check what happened to Judy. It's just that Judy didn't tell Mingmei at the time. Well, I see. I'm still in a daze now. Chen nodded, and then looked at what kind of Mei was preparing, and did not prepare anything complicated, just a simple Japanese breakfast, but after Mingmei handmade. It looks a little fancy. The rice balls are so beautifully made. In fact, with Mingmei's craftsmanship, There is absolutely no problem in being a chef in the Thai restaurant. Chen looked at Mingmei and said with a light smile. I'm very happy to get your compliment, Chen. Mingmei's face showed a sincere smile. Sure enough, the research on cooking during this period of time has not been in vain. Now that she can get Chen's praise, Mingmei really feels very satisfied. By the way, is there something wrong with Judy? Mingmei asked Chen curiously. It seems that Mingmei, you have also learned to be curious. Wu Yu couldn't help saying, yeah, I always feel very curious in my heart. After all, no matter who it is, everyone will be curious. Mingmei nodded and said that Mingmei was right, no matter who it is, everyone will have curiosity. Mingmei, you should have already guessed it. Judy wanted me to teach her. She mentioned it to me yesterday. Then did you agree? Mingmei asked Chen curiously. This is not, is it obvious? If I promised Judy, she wouldn't be standing there in a daze now. Yes, but you refused like this. Mingmei looked at Chen with a strange expression. Do you mean that Judy is also a great beauty? Mingmei felt that she was no worse than herself, but she rejected it directly. It felt that it did not conform to Chen's style. Although he didn't know what Mingmei was thinking, but seeing Mingmei's strange expression, Chen then tapped Mingmei's little head. I feel like you are cranky, what are you thinking about? Chen looked at Mingmei and said. No, I didn't think about anything. Mingmei rubbed her forehead, feeling a little pain when she was knocked. This is Makoto. If it is Yukiko, after this loss, I will definitely think about fighting back. I'm going to ask Belmont and the others to get up for breakfast first. Chen left the kitchen, also in order not to disturb Mingmei to continue cooking. After walking out, Chen walked towards the room of Belmont and the others, and soon called them all up. Okay, don't be dazed, come over and get ready for breakfast. Chen said to Judy, who was still in a daze. Judy looked at Chen with Yuhi's eyes. She looked like she was crying, and Chen suddenly felt his head too. Didn't you cry just now? Chen asked Judy. It was so obvious that Chen could see it at a glance. Judy must have been crying just now. No, Judy said stubbornly. Even if she really cried, Judy would stubbornly say no. All right then, come over for breakfast. Don't starve you, you are also a teacher after all. Chen pulled Judy and said. Wait a minute. Judy grabbed Chen's hand and stopped Chen, staring straight at Chen. Judy wasn't wearing glasses at this point, but she looked prettier than when she was wearing them. Is there anything else? Are you willing to teach me if I am willing to pay some price? Judy asked Chen-ji. After paying some price, Chen probably already understood what Judy wanted to do, and looked at Judy in a daze equals momentarily. Stop, don't think of me as that kind of person. I'm a good person, Chen said righteously to Judy. Hey Tilda, a rather sarcastic voice came over. This was Xiao Ai's voice. Xiao Ai was looking at the good Chen Yi with that kind of contempt. You really have the guts to say such a thing, this face it's really thick. Xiao Ai, do you have any opinion? Chen stared at Xiao Ai dangerously and asked Xiao Ai. No, how dare I have any opinion? Even if I have, I wouldn't dare to mention it. Xiao Ai withdrew after the mouth. He said and said no, but in fact there is, and this opinion is definitely not small. Forget it, Chen also doesn't plan to care about these things with Xiao Ai. Let's go eat quickly. Chen let go of Judy, then followed Xiao Ai and walked into the living room. Judy, who followed behind, bit Kiba, making up her mind in her heart for revenge. No matter what the price. No matter how high the price is, I will never give up, in order to take revenge for defeating Belmont. Chen at this time, I don't know what kind of determination Judy has made in her heart, if she knows. I don't know if Chen should be happy, or should be happy. Don't touch my head. Xiao Ai opened Chen's hand and said. Just now, Chen's hand was on Xiao Ai's head, and then Xiao Ai felt very angry and wanted to get angry directly. Li's good, yo, Xiao Ai, don't I remember that you didn't like it very much before? Shouldn't it be embarrassing now? Belmod looked at Xiao Ai with a smile on his face. When Xiao Ai saw the smile on Maud's face, Xiao Ai snorted and felt that the smile on Belmod's face seemed to be laughing at her, and Xiao Ai was very unhappy in her heart. Judy sat down, looked at Belmod deeply, and faced Judy's gaze. Belmod wasn't afraid at all, and stared at July in the same way. "See your Maud, sooner or later I'll let you repent of your crimes." Judy said, "Oh, yes, if you really have the ability. Then you can give it a try. I'd really like to see it." Seer Maud said with a smile. Seeing that the anger in Judy's heart continued to pour out, but Judy finally suppressed the unhappiness in her heart. Chapter 1104. You threatened me that Belmod and Judy were quarreling in my house. To be precise, Judy was quarreling with Belmod. Seeing that Belmod didn't want to pay attention to Judy, however, it was so ignored. It made Judy even more unhappy in her heart, and even more angry with Belmod. Chen felt a little bored at home, so he left the house. Just came out of the house, and then Chen saw this guy Kudo Yasaka. He was coming out of his house at this time, and Tatsu's house and Kudo Yasaka's house were only separated by a road. So Yasaka Kudo came out. Naturally also saw Chen. After seeing Chen, Kudo Yasaka's footsteps paused, and then he ran over quickly, and shouted at Chen. Chen thought about it, and it seems that he has nothing to do. Since that's the case, let's chat with Kudo Yasaka. "Hyuga Tatsu, can we talk?" Kudo Yasaka took a deep breath and asked Tatsu. "Tan, in what capacity do you want to talk to me?" Chen looked at Yasaka Kudo playfully. "As a father, can you?" Kudo Yasaka asked 47. That's right, he just wanted to talk to Chen about his son. This is also the most peaceful thing for Kudo Yasaka right now. "Okay, I know there is a coffee shop not far away, let's go there." Chen originally wanted to pass the boring time, so naturally he nodded and agreed, and Chen also wanted to know. What will Yasaka Kudo say? Kudo Yasaka didn't hesitate either. He was not afraid, and quickly followed Chen. Soon he came to the coffee shop and started chatting. Kudo Yasaka and Chen talked a lot of nonsense, until Chen was a little impatient. Kudo Yasaka finally said something. "What's your relationship with that organization?" Kudo Yasaka wanted to ask him in a side-by-side manner before, to see if something could happen. But Chen didn't pay attention to him at all, so Kudo Yasaka changed his way. "It is very direct to ask about the relationship between Chen and the Black Organization." "Then what do you think is the relationship between me and the Black Organization?" Chen took a sip of coffee and asked Kudo Yasaka. Kudo Yasaka's expression was silent. If he guessed Sid, Kudo Yasaka felt that even if Hyuga Chen and the Black Organization were related, they would never be a person from the Black Organization. The reason was very simple. Hyuga Chen knew that Kudo Shinichi had changed. Became Conan, but the Black Organization still doesn't know it. So Hyuga Chen definitely couldn't be someone from the Black Organization. Since that's the case, let's go straight to the point. I'm looking for you to tell you, don't target the new. Kudo Yasaka said seriously. What is Hyuga Chen's identity? Kudo Yasaka can't control it now. I don't want to care who he is, but Kudo Yasaka just doesn't want Hyuga Chen to target his son again. Did you make a mistake? I am targeting Kudo Shin equals. Do I need to target him? Hyuga Tatsu pouted in disdain. If he really wants to target Kudo Shin, Kudo Shinichi can really still live in this. The world was targeted by him. And if he could still survive, it might really be a miracle. The reason why he did that was because he wanted to kill himself. If he had to run over to provoke him, Chen would simply ignore him like Conan. A guy that can be easily cleaned up. It also needs to be deliberately targeted. Yasaka Kudo must be thinking a little too much, right? There are some reasons for his son, but Hyuga Chen's reasons are absolutely indispensable. If it is not for no reason, his son will not trouble Hyuga Chen. According to Kudo Yasaka's investigation, Shinichi has such a big deal with Hyuga Chen. The reason for the hostility has already been guessed. It must be because of Shaolin, a child, and Shinichi's feelings for Shaolin. Kudo Yasaka also knows it. And now according to his investigation, Shaolin seems to be with Hyuga Chen now. For Shinichi, this is definitely a thunderous blow. And Hyuga Chen himself is not a good person. So Shinichi, who was already hostile to Hyuga Chen, was even more hostile to Hyuga Chen. I don't care. The reason, I don't want to hear that Shinichi is injured otherwise. I will use all my energy against you. Kudo Yasaka looked at Chen. The expression is very serious. Are you threatening me? Chen squinted his eyes and asked Kudo Yasaka. You can take it as it is. Kudo Yasaka was not afraid after he noticed Tatsuya's dangerous gaze. Haha, you're not too brave, you actually dare to threaten me. Chen Hao sneered. Does Kudo Yasaka think he can wrestle with him? Indeed, Kudo Yasaka's ability is good, and he is stronger than Kudo Shinichi as his son in all aspects. It can be said that Kudo Shin's abilities are basically taught by Kudo Yasaka, but this does not mean that Ito Yasaka is qualified to threaten himself. Threatening him, Yasaka Kudo alone is not worthy. Kudo Yasaka didn't even respond. He was kicked and flew out, and the whole person flew out directly in the coffee shop. Hit the glass. The entire glass was shattered by Yasaka Kudo's body. You're threatening me like this. You're still one eternal early. Chen walked out indifferently, came to Kudo Yasaka's side, and said to Kudo Yasaka. Kudo Yasaka is really not simple. Such a kick, if it is an ordinary person, I am afraid that he will faint directly. Possibly even dead. And Kudo Yasaka was kicked by this kick, and he didn't faint, but the pain had already made Kudo Yasaka speechless. Also, put away these little toys of yours, they have no effect on me. Chen looked at the small pistol that Yasaka Kudo was hiding in his hand. Disdained smile, then said, not to mention firearms, even if I gave Kudo Yasaka a nuclear bomb, it would not be able to hurt Chen. Kudo Yasaka's hand tightened slightly. In fact, even if Ito Yasaka really wanted to shoot, he didn't have the strength to shoot. The injury he suffered is very serious, and even if you really want to do what you want to do, you can't do it at all. That's right. The compensation from this coffee shop is up to you. Chen stepped over Kudo Yasaka directly and left, leaving only Kudo Yasaka covered in glass shards. There were also some people who heard the movement and came to watch curiously. Of course, there is also the owner of the unfortunate coffee shop. At this time, the owner of the coffee shop looked at Yasaka Kudo lying on the ground, and his heart was a little bitter. After hesitating for a while, pick up the phone, then call the rescue, and send the other party to the hospital first. Otherwise I'm afraid he will die. 1. Chapter 1105. Shortly after helping me monitor Conan, Yasaka Kudo was sent to the hospital. After examination, Yasaka Kudo was seriously injured. And when his father was injured, Conan of course would not be concealed, although Kudo Yasaka wanted to conceal it, but he did not conceal it. Conan and Hattori Heiji. In addition, a Liboshi appeared in the hospital together. Dad, tell me, did Hyuga-chen hurt you? Conan asked with anger on his face. Kudo Yasaka sighed. For the first time, I regretted that my son was so smart, and it was not good for him to know so much. Although Kudo Yasaka did not say. But smart is Conan. Of course it is impossible to guess. After guessing, Conan's heart flashed with anger. I'm going to find Hyuga-chen. Conan was about to leave. Hattori Heiji directly grabbed Conan, and did not let Conan go out. Stop, Conan, are you going to court death? Kudo Yasaka shouted to Conan, enduring the injury. This time, Yasaka Kudo knew more about Hyuga-chen, and that guy shot, absolutely no worries. If Shinichi goes to Hyuga-chen, there may be real danger. If it was fine before, it doesn't mean it will be fine this time. Conan, I think you should listen to your father. Dr. Agasa took Conan's hand, said to Conan that although Dr. Agasa didn't want to fight Conan, even Yasaka couldn't fight Hyuga-chen, so he was sent to the hospital. What's the use of him going? Damn. Conan clenched his fists angrily, and his nails went into the flesh because of too much force. It's useless to be so angry now, it's better to calm down. Hattori Heiji said to Conan. Conan's mood has not been stable recently, and Hattori Heiji can also see this. Of course, the reason why Conan is like this is mainly because of Hyuga-chen and Shaolin. The blow to Conan is really a wife. So Conan is a little groggy now, and his emotions are particularly serious. In fact, Hattori Heiji can understand Conan like this. Thinking about it, if it were him, he would definitely not be able to stand it. No, I have to figure out a way to deal with that guy Hyuga Tatsu. He seems to have that kind of meaning towards Kazuya, so he had to find a way to stop it, and the way to stop it was to find a way to smear Hyuga, but Hattori felt that Hyuga-chen was already very dark, and he was not a good person. But Yi didn't believe it at all. This is the most uncomfortable part of Hattori Heiji. Obviously Hyuga-chen is not a good thing, but Kazuya still regards him as a good friend, but his relationship with himself is getting more and more. His heart was naturally unhappy, and he felt very uncomfortable. Just thinking about Hyuga-chen makes Conan feel like he's about to explode. There was always an anger in my heart that wanted to burst out. But I don't know how to break out. I was holding it in my heart, and Conan felt like he was about to collapse. Conan, listen to me, don't bother with Hyuga-chen for the time being. Kudo Yasaka said to Conan. Conan's ability is definitely no match for Hyuga-chen, mainly because the opponent doesn't play cards according to the routine at all. This is also a person who cannot see through Kudo Yusakuyu. Conan, I remember you told me before, don't go to Hyuga-chen. I didn't listen to you, so I have become like this now, you have to remember. Kudo Yasaka said to Conan earnestly. I see. Conan took a deep breath and nodded. He wasn't the kind of person who didn't know what to do, and it wasn't that he couldn't listen to other people's advice. Especially since the person in front of him is his father, Conan has listened to the words of Kudo Yasaka since he was a child, although he is too grown now. But when my father said so, Conan naturally wouldn't continue screwing. As for Hyuga-chen, leave it to me, Kudo Yasaka said in a deep voice. Although this time was beaten. In addition, he was severely injured, but Yasaka Kudo felt that he still had some confidence in dealing with Hyuga-chen. Looking at his father, Conan didn't say anything. He felt that his father should be measured and he didn't need to remind him. Dad, you need to recover from your injury first, and I'll leave first. Conan said to Kudo Yasaka, and then left. Seeing Conan leaving, Hattori Heiji took the role of little Conan, and then followed Conan. And Yasaka Kudo, who was originally worried about Conan's departure. After seeing Hattori Heiji following up, Kudo Yasaka was no longer worried. For flowers, Agasa Hakudo, Conan will need your care in the future. Next. Kudo Yasaka said to Akasa Hakudo. Don't worry, Yasaka, you can recover from your injury. Of course I won't let Kanandi move. Akasa Hiroshi nodded to Kudo Yasaka and assured Kudo Yasaka. That's good. Kudo Yasaka breathed a sigh of relief. Yasaka, don't relax too early, don't forget Conan's character. Agasa Hiroto suddenly smiled bitterly. Originally, Agasa Hiroshi agreed, but after thinking about Conan's character, Dr. Agasa had a headache. It's because I know his character. That's why I asked Hiro Aga Plus to help me watch him. Please, Hiro Aga, Yasaka Dingto said to Dr. Hiro very solemnly. If it weren't for the serious injury, I am afraid that Kudo Yasaka will get up directly and thank Hiro Akasa 10 times. Yasaka, actually, you don't need to be so polite. Akasa Hiroshi shook his head, even though Kudo Yasaka didn't say anything. Akasa Hakudo wouldn't watch Conan in danger either. And it's not a masterpiece. Please ask him for the first time. When they came back before, when they were talking, Kudo Yasaka had already solemnly asked him. Agasa Hiroshi, if you're in any trouble, feel free to come to me, especially about Conan. There's one more favor, I'd like to ask you to help me. What? Yasaka, you're welcome, go ahead and say it, as long as I can help, I will definitely help. If that's the case, then I'll say it. Kudo Yasaka didn't hesitate, he opened his mouth and said, I want to ask you to help me monitor Conan. Alibotu was suddenly stunned, and couldn't help rubbing his head. You should know, he didn't tell me anything, such as the fact that he was fed poison by the black organization before and then became small. Shinichi never mentioned it to me before, and I was kept in the dark. So I want Dr. Ali to help me report the new trend. Kudo Yasaka said with a wry smile. If it wasn't for Akasa Hiroshi to inform him to come back. He really didn't know that Shinichi was involved in this incident. Chapter 1106. Honesty is easy to be deceived. Hey, what's the matter with Shaolin? Chen received a call from Shaolin at home, and there was a smile on his face. Xiaoai, who was sitting next to Chen, saw the smile on Chen's face. At the time, he couldn't help but pull his mouth away, and then there was a deep and incomparable displeasure on his face. Anyway, I felt uncomfortable when I saw it. When it was normal, Xiaoai would definitely leave Tsunere very much, but this time Xiaoai did not open high. Not only did he not leave, but he also deliberately approached Chen, ready to listen to what the two of them were saying on the phone. Chen glanced at Xiaoai. He did not shy away from Xiaoai. Anyway, they didn't talk about anything shameful between them. Even if it's really a shameful thing, Yichen's thick skin will definitely not care whether Xiaoai will eavesdrop. That's right, 4 forces 0, Chen's face is like that. Chen, I'm at my mother's place now, Shizi. My sister said she wants to take us to the shopping mall, do you want to come over? Originally, Shaolin wanted to talk about Aunt Yuchizi, but after seeing the change in Yuchizi's expression, change your mouth now. I have to say that Shaolin's desire to survive is also very strong, if she speaks her aunt's words. Yukiko will definitely not let Shaolin go. After all, the thing that Yukiko cares about the most is probably her age, which must not be mentioned. Even if Chen said it, Yukiko would bite him angrily. Go shopping. Ahem, I found that I still have some things to do, so I can't go. Chen coughed twice, and then opened his mouth to refuse. Although he really wanted to go to Shaolin, he just wanted to go shopping. Chen completely dispelled this thought of his own. That's it. Shaolin's tone was filled with disappointment. If possible, Shaolin really wanted Chen to pass. I'm so sorry Shaolin, I'm afraid I can't get through. After hanging up the phone, Yukiko looked at Shaolin. He must have said that there is something he can't come over. Yuchizi asked Shaolin. Yeah, Shaolin nodded towards Yuchizi, a little disappointed in her heart. Actually, you shouldn't have said this to that guy Chen, you should put it another way. Not to mention going shopping, you can definitely deceive Chen. Yukiko said. Yuchizi also knew Chen very well, and knew that Chen hated shopping, so when Shaolin talked about shopping, Yuchizi knew that it was absolutely impossible. Cheat here. That's a bit bad, Shaolin said embarrassedly. Shaolin is not good at deceiving people. After all, Shaolin is a good boy, especially the deceiver is Chen, and Shaolin doesn't want to. Not so. Of course he won't come. IOSQ Yukiko said in a rather depressing tone, if she knew earlier. She came to Hecken to call, and then directly told Chen that Shaolin was here, and Chen would definitely come over, and then drag him to go shopping. He wanted to refuse. There is no way to refuse. Ah, it's Xiaoran who is too honest. Yukiko sighed again and shook her head at Xiaoran. Isn't it better to be true? It's easy to be deceived. Yukiko looked at Shaolin with a special look. She was a little embarrassed to see Shaolin. It felt like Yukiko had completely seen her through. Why is Shaolin so embarrassed? Yukiko teased. He asked Shaolin. Yukiko swore that she did it on purpose. She just wanted to see Shaolin's face. Yuhishi. Don't bully Shaolin. In the face of her mother, she actually bullied her precious daughter. Fei Yingli can't pretend she didn't see it. I didn't bully Xiaoran. Yukiko blinked and said, Xiaoran, if she wants to, if you bully you, don't be polite to her. Fei Yingli said to Shaolin. On the other hand, Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at how relaxed you are, if you let Shaolin see it, do you think she will misunderstand? What? Xiaoai said while withdrawing from Chen. What is the misunderstanding? Chen glanced at Xiaoai blankly. Misunderstanding that you are a scum? No. You are a scum. Xiaoai felt that there was no need for a misunderstanding at all, because Chen was originally a scum. He looked at Chen with contempt. I just came out of the room and heard Xiaoai say that you are a scum. Xiao Izumi Yuhi looked at Chen strangely. Yuhi, you what happened? Chen looked at Yuhizi in amazement. At this time, Yuhizi was wearing his wife's dark circles, as if he hadn't slept for several days. What's wrong? Yuhizi asked suspiciously. It's ugly. The ugly can't be recognized anymore. Xiaoai didn't know where Kong took it out, a mirror, and then threw it at the little Izumi Yuhiko. After the little Izumi Yuhiko took it, She opened the mirror and looked at it, and then the whole person, they were all stunned. Is this really me? Little Izumi Yuhiko asked with a bit of doubt in her words how she became like this. Didn't she just stay up all night? Why is this? Well, no, it's caused by staying up all night for a day. I have been up late for several days, so Izumi Yuhiko exaggeratedly turned into this look. What the hell did you do? Chen couldn't help asking little Izumi Yuhiko. I didn't see the little Izumi Yuhi, even when I was eating. The little Izumi Yuhi didn't come out, and Mingmei brought her food. I study magic. After the little Izumi Yuhi finished speaking, Bu Hekin continued. She has to hurry up and sort out the image, the current image is really bad. Little Izumi Yuhiko, I can't stand it, she is a very beautiful girl. It is now like this. How can you bear it? Researching magic can actually make yourself look like this. I admire you now. Chen Yi looked at little Izumi Yuhiko with admiration. It must have been a few days of cultivation. Fortunately, little Izumi Yuhiko's current physique is better than before, otherwise, little Izumi Yuhiko may not really be able to withstand it. But now the little Izumi Yuhiko, who hurried to the room, seems to have no time to listen to Chen's words. I see, I hope you don't become like Xiao Izumi Yuhi. Chen looked at Xiao Ai and reminded Xiao Ai, don't think he doesn't know. Xiao Ai has been working very hard recently, as if to study her drug, and she often stays up late recently. Although after becoming a ninja, my physical fitness has improved, but I can't stand staying up all night. I won't become like her. Xiao Ai said very firmly, but when she saw the appearance of little Izumi Yuhiko, what Xiao Ai thought in her heart was, do you want to take a break? Chapter 1107. Going to the little Izumi Yuhiko's house, the little Izumi Yuhiko's tidy up. He walked out of the room, came to Chen, and asked Chen, I should look better now, right? Although it was covered up by your makeup, the dark circles under your eyes are still very obvious, so I advise you to take a good rest now. Let's go, Chen said to the little Izumi Yuhiko, not knowing what magic the little Izumi Yuhiko was studying. Actually so fascinated, I think you should stop studying your magic. What's the use? Xiao Ai looked at the little Izumi Yuhiko and said, although the little Izumi Yuhiko's magic is indeed unique, but it's really just that. In the case of fighting, it is definitely not as powerful as ninjutsu, and it requires a lot of preparation. Anyway, Xiao Ai thinks that magic is too rubbish. This is also the reason why Xiao Ai did not study after reading Xiao Izumi Yuhiko's magic book. This thing is not only difficult, but also not very useful. Xiao Ai will naturally not waste time on it. The difficulty of learning magic is really difficult. Xiao Ai can't understand it, unless someone teaches it from a young age, so that you can get started. And when Xiao Ai looked at it, he couldn't even understand Fu number 29. In fact, Chen was the same, but Chen didn't mean to study magic. He doesn't need such a low-level thing at all. This can't be done. It's a family heritage and it must be passed down. Little Izumi Yuhiko shook her head. Of course it wouldn't do for her to let go of the magic in her hand. It's not a question of whether it's useful or not. By the way, Chen, I have to go back, so can you take me back? Little Izumi Yuhiko asked Chen. Little Izumi Yuhiko said to go back. Of course, she went back to her house. There are still many things in the house, all related to magic. Little Izumi Yuhiko is going to get it back. Okay, I'll take you back. Chen nodded. After all, Yuhiko was his own woman. This is a small request. Of course Chen would not refuse. I'm going with me too. Xiao Ai said suddenly. You want to follow too? Chen and Yuhi looked at Xiao Ai in surprise. Doesn't Xiao Ai usually like Bao's family? Even if Chen wanted to call Xiao Ai out, she might not follow him out. I want to go out with you. Can't you? Xiao Ai asked Chen. Of course there's nothing you can't do. If you want to go out with you, then go ahead. Chen nodded towards Xiao Ai nod. Then Xiao Ai looked at Yuhizi, because she was going to Yuhizi's house, so she still needed Yuhizi's consent. Can I still refuse? Yuhiko said to Xiao Ai when he saw Xiao Ai looking at him. After that, The pedestrian left the house and drove towards Yuhizi's house, which was actually quite far from Yuhizi's house. After driving for more than 2 hours, I arrived at Yuhizi's house. In fact, the speed is far less than that of not driving. I didn't expect your family to be very rich. Xiaoai looked at the luxurious castle with a glimmer of envy in her eyes. Little Izumi Yuhiko is still a rich witch. Of course, the little Izumi Yuhi is also a lady of the Tai family. No, she is the witch of the Tai family. Chen looked at the luxurious castle without any surprise. Money. There was originally a servant butler in the house, but he was instructed from Momochan's side. Little Izumi Yuhiko made the original housekeeper high. So this place has not been taken care of for a long time, resulting in a layer of dust. What a waste. Xiaoai couldn't help but say after entering the inside and seeing the dust. A nice castle. It's too desolate now. Would you like to help you clean up? Chen asked the little Izumi Yuhiko. If you don't mind the trouble. Of course you can. It won't be troublesome for me at all. Chen controls the gravity, sucks the dust directly in, and then throws all the dust outside, and the entire castle equals a little bit in an instant. The dust is gone. How did you do this? Xiaoai looked at Chen in surprise and widened her eyes at Chen. Although she didn't say anything, it showed that she also wanted to learn. The power of Kekkei Genkai, that is, the power of blood, you don't have it, you can't learn it. Chen said after shaking his head towards Xiaoai. You can take a stroll here. I'll go find something. Little Izumi Yuhiko said to Chen and Xiaoai. Then little Izumi Yuhiko entered the room, opened a secret compartment, and then entered a secret room. She stored her magic props. There is also a place for magic books. Naturally it can't be placed in the clear eyes, it's all placed in the secret room. I'll follow. Xiaoai is very curious about Xiao Izumi Yuhiko's magic props and so on, which is why Xiaoai asked to come along. Now it's hard to come here, of course, you have to satisfy your curiosity. Although Chen is interested in magic props, or something. I'm not that curious, but I'm alone. It's not interesting to wander around the castle. So I walked in together and prepared to follow along. Is this your magic item? It looks very ordinary. Xiaoai looked at the crystal ball that Izumi Yuhiko was holding, and said disappointedly, it looked like a glass ball. What do you know? Little Izumi Yuhi looked at Xiaoai with contempt. Being despised by little Izumi Yuhi, Xiaoai was a little upset and snorted, what do I know? Although I really don't understand, but if I really want to do 507 if you understand, you can absolutely. These things, Izumi Yuhiko is the guy who eats. Chen chuckled, and then said. These props, as well as those books, must be brought. Little Izumi Yuhiko pointed at the books on the wall and said. These are all magic books. Chen looked at the books in astonishment. He was surprised when he saw the thick magic book in the hands of little Izumi Yuhiko. Now, it seems that it is still too small. No, if you want to become a qualified witch, especially a witch in this era, you must have a master's knowledge. Little Izumi Yuhiko brought the book to Chen to look at, and Chen was speechless to discover that it was actually a book about science. Yes, you are a magical girl who actually collects this scientific knowledge. Do you want to cross the line? I may be able to look at these things. Xiaoai walked over, flipped through it for a while, and said to Xiao Izumi Yuhiko. If you want to see it, you can take it and see it. I don't have any opinion. Little Izumi Yuhiko said very politely. Even the magic book has been read to Xiaoai, let alone these things, and little Izumi Yuhizi also has some things that need Xiaoai's help. Regarding the refining of potions, although Xiaoai can't refine potions, she is very good at pharmaceuticals. Chapter 1108. Curiosity killed the cat. Today we won't go back, let's rest here for a night. Chen said to Xiao Izumi Yuhiko and Xiaoai. It's getting dark now, and there's no point in going back. Might as well wait until tomorrow morning to go back. Well, okay, I'll have a good rest too. Little Izumi Yuhiko yawned. I haven't slept well for several days, and I have to take a good rest before I can make up for it. Xiaoai, don't you want to rest? Chen asked Xiaoai. I'll watch it for a while, and then go to rest. You don't have to worry about me. Xiao-ai raised her head and glanced at Chen, then said. Well, you also remember to rest early. Chen didn't say anything, then found a room and went to rest. Little Izumi Yuhiko's house is big enough to just find a room. The next morning, Chen was used to getting up earlier. And after he got up, neither little Izumi Yuhiko nor little I got up. It's also normal, little Izumi Yuhiko is sleep-deprived and needs to make up for sleep. As for Xiao-ai, I don't know when to rest yesterday. Anyway, Xiao-ai's rest time yesterday will never be too early. Let's go buy some breakfast first. Chen suddenly felt a little unaccustomed to it. If it is at home, Mingmei is basically responsible for breakfast. As long as you wait to eat it, it doesn't matter if you eat it or not. But Chen is used to eating breakfast. To eat breakfast here, I can only go out and buy it. Let's not talk about whether Chen is willing to make it by himself. Even if he really wants to make it himself, there are no ingredients here. After all, little Izumi Yuhiko's house has not been occupied for many days. Even if there is food in the refrigerator, it must not be eaten. I didn't drive, Chen walked out, but Izumi Yuhiko's house was a little far from the place to buy things. So there is still a long way to go, so it doesn't matter to Chen. He no longer has the word tired. The house is nice, but it's too remote. Chen couldn't help shaking his head. Although little Izumi Yuhiko's home is nice, it's a bit remote. Boss, buy some sushi and rice balls. Chen came to the place where he bought breakfast, and said to the boss. At this moment, Chen was slightly bumped from behind. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump you. A very beautiful girl in the back immediately apologized after realizing that she had bumped into someone. Chen couldn't help but look back. This glance made Chen stunned. Shaolin. 900s. B2 My name is not Shaolin, my name is Nakamori Aoko. Nakamori Aoko was at a loss for a moment after listening to Chen's words, and then immediately said. Oh, so you are Aoko Nakamori. That's right. Chen started. I sees the other party as Shaolin, but now, she has come back to her senses. It is impossible for Shaolin to appear here, and although the appearance of the other party is very similar to Shaolin, the hairstyle is different. Nakamori Aoko is Kuroba Kato, the childhood sweetheart and classmate of Kato Kid. She is the daughter of the 3 police officers of Nakamori Silver. Looks very similar to Xiaolan. It was almost a sheep carved out of a mold. In addition, between Nakamori Silver-san and Mori Kogoro, there are too many similarities in face shape. You are very similar to my girlfriend. Chen said to Nakamori Aoko. Hear what Chen said. Nakamori Aoko was stunned for a moment, and then the Yuhi-faced and Chen distanced themselves. And also looked at Chen with vigilant eyes. Your move is outdated. Nakamori Chingzi didn't have a good impression of Chen. Second, people who want to pick up girls like to say things like this. Originally, Juchen is very handsome. Although he is not super handsome, Aoko Nakamori still has a good impression of Chenji. But because of one word, Aoko Nakamori's sense of Chen is much worse. The name of the tomb is amazing. There is something wrong with my head. I should go see a doctor. Chen glanced at Aoko Nakamori, and by this time he had already got breakfast. Chen is ready to leave. Although you and my girlfriend look alike, in some places, you really can't take a look at Nakamori Chingzi. Although it's not flat, but there are not too many ups and downs. You, what do you mean? Nakamori Aoko looked at Chen angrily. She had already roughly understood the meaning of Chen and Guangzong. What do you mean? You still don't understand. If you don't understand, it just means your IQ is too low. Chen shook his head helplessly towards Nakamori Aoko. That's right. You have a problem with your IQ. How could you possibly understand? It seems that I think too much. Damn, you stop for me. At this time, Aoko Nakamori didn't even bother to buy breakfast, so she chased after Chen. But at this time, Chen had already gone a long way. Angrily, Aoko Nakamori bit Kiba. Erji is wrong, that direction seems to be Yuhiko's residence. Nakamori Aoko is a little puzzled. There is no one living in that direction, but Nakamori Ayoko knows that Yuhiko's home is in that direction. Nakamori Ayoko and Izumi Yuhiko are direct, and they are barely good friends, so Nakamori Ayoko will understand that a lot. It's just that Nakamori Ayoko didn't understand why Yuhiko transferred schools, and suddenly transferred and left. Follow up and have a look. Nakamori Ayoko's curiosity has been raised, and she immediately followed quietly. Curiosity killed the cat, but Nakamori Ayoko should have never heard of it, so she followed directly curiously. When Nakamori Ayoko followed, Chen's footsteps paused for a moment, and then he continued to move forward. Nakamori Ayoko followed. How could this Chen not know that Nakamori Ayoko's clumsy tracking was probably a normal person? You can perceive it. And Chen is more aware of it. The king is good. Follow it if you like. Chen simply ignores it. All the way Chen returned to the house of the little Izumi Yuhiko. After a long time, Shen-sen Qingzi followed. Get here. Walk so fast. Can't see anyone anymore. Nakamori Ayoko looked at the castle in front of him. This is Yuhiko's house, but Nakamori Ayoko has never been there. He glanced at the courtyard door. The door was not locked, which means that Yuhiko is at home. The man should also be go in a. At this time, Nakamori Ayoko is tangled. Do you want to go in and have a look? Yuhiko's house is very mysterious, and Nakamori Ayoko also wants to know more about Yuhiko. And there is that man. I haven't settled with him yet. Nakamori Ayoko's heart is also full of anger, and he is ready to let out his breath, otherwise he will feel uncomfortable in the garden. But if you go in privately like this, wouldn't that mean trespassing in other people's homes? It is because of this that Nakamori Ayoko hesitates. Should I go in? Chapter 1109. Be confident. This is how I think of your go in. Go in and have a look. After hesitating for a long time, Nakamori Ayoko decided to go in and have a look. She has already come here, if she is allowed to open up again. Nakamori Ayoko's heart is also not at ease. Pushing open the door in the yard, and then Nakamori Ayoko walked in. She was actually quite curious about the inside of Nakamori Ayoko. Although this is Yuhiko's home, Nakamori Ayoko has never been here at all, so he doesn't know much about this place. But Yuhiko is very mysterious and doesn't know how her family is. Before coming to the door, Nakamori Ayoko walked in with little wings. Hey, strange, why is there no one? After Nakamori Ayoko came in, she felt more and more strange. There was no one inside. I clearly watched him come in. Could it be that he went to another room? Nakamori Qingzi saw that there was no one in Kekjin, and Hikaru looked in the direction of the guest room. Forget it. I'll just sit here. Entering someone's home without authorization. It's already too much. If she enters someone else's room again, I'm afraid they can call the police and arrest her. After looking at the furniture in the living room, Nakamori Ayoko just waited. 970. Hey, why does the room feel so dark? Ayoko Nakamori, who was doing this, suddenly noticed that the whole living room had become much darker, and it looked a little scary. What's going on? Nakamori Ayoko couldn't help standing up. Crack tilde, a slight sound made Nakamori Ayoko couldn't help but look over, only to see that the wall suddenly turned bloody. Looks a little sleazy. How did this become like this? Nakamori Ayoko stood up immediately. Instinctively felt bad, and then wanted to run out. However, when Nakamori Ayoko ran to the door, he found that the door could not be opened at all. It seems that it was locked. Immediately after, Nakamori Ayoko felt something approaching her behind her, and Nakamori Ayoko shivered. No, don't scare me, I'm not afraid of anything. Nakamori Ayoko shouted loudly, as if to use his voice to dispel fear, and at the same time, to attract the attention of others. Really? Are you really not afraid of anything? Miss Nakamori Ayoko? It sounded in his ears, and then Ayoko Nakamori rolled his eyes and fainted. It's really boring. I was scared and passed out before I even started. Chen said with a look of disappointment. Of course, before Yuhi, Chen was trying to scare Nakamori Ayoko, who asked her to follow her, teach her a lesson, and let Nakamori Ayoko know that you can't go anywhere. Following others has to pay the price. It's good for you to be like this now. Chen helped Ayako Nakamori, who was lying on the ground. Then he tested Nakamori's breathing. Fortunately, there is still breath, and he was not scared to death. But yes, how could it be possible to frighten people to death? Unless there is something wrong with the heart, but Nakamori Ayako will definitely not have a heart problem, so Chen will scare Nakamori Ayako like this. He helped Ayako Nakamori to the sofa. Then Chen heard a cold question. Who is she? Why is she here? After Xiao Ai walked out of the room, she asked Chen indifferently. Seeing Xiao Ai's angry and jealous appearance. After Chen spread her hands, she said to Xiao Ai, don't make a fuss. She was just someone who followed me without authorization. She was frightened by me and then fainted. It's over. Really? Didn't you faint? Xiao Ai looked at Chen with a sneer. The expression on Chen's face was a little unpleasant. Xiao Ai, who do you take me for? Am I such a person in your heart? Xiao Ai, do you miss me like this? Haha, be more confident, remove that, that's how I miss you. Xiao Ai, with a scumbag expression, let Chen want to explain cannot explain. Forget it, Ruxian, if you don't believe it, just wait until she wakes up and ask her to find out. What are you talking about? I heard you guys are arguing too early in the morning. Little Izumi Yuhiko came out lazily. I haven't washed yet, so little Izumi Yuhiko's hair is a little messy. But this does not affect the charm of little Izumi Yuhiko in the slightest. Hey, this person looks familiar. After seeing Ayako, Izumi Yuhiko felt very familiar even though she only saw Ayoko's profile. Then little Izumi Yuhiko couldn't help but walk over and observed it carefully. It's actually Ayako Nakamori. Little Izumi Yuhiko showed a very surprised expression on her face. Then looked at Chen with questioning eyes. Why did Nakamori Ayako appear here? This should have something to do with Chen. Little Izumi Yuhiko absolutely did not believe that Nakamori Ayako appeared here, and Chen has nothing to do with. She followed me and came here. Chen said to little Izumi Yuhiko, and then whether little Izumi Yuhiko believed it or not. That's the truth anyway. Qingzi is following you. Why is she following you when she has nothing to do? Little Izumi Yuhiko asked Chen suspiciously. Probably there is something wrong with her head. There is a sudden problem with her IQ. That's why she followed me, otherwise I can't explain it. Chen spread his hands and said that he couldn't explain it either. Because Chen didn't know what Nakamori Qingzi was thinking, who knew what was in her mind, and Chen couldn't open her mind to take a look. Then why did she faint? Little Izumi Yuhiko looked at Chen. Although I don't think Chen will be that kind of person, but this time. In the heart of little Izumi Yuhiko, there is still a suspicion of Chen. It's so suspicious after all. Who knows if Chen saw Nakamori Ayako beautiful, and then kidnapped her back. Why does she look so much like Shaolin? Xiao Ai asked suspiciously. She didn't look at it before, but now she looks at it and finds that the other party and Shaolin really look alike. It's almost like it's been carved out of a mold. If it weren't for the fact that there are still some things that are not very similar, and if Xiao Ai's observation ability is careful, maybe he really regards the other party as Shaolan. In fact, Xiao Ai's. At first glance, I really took Nakamori Ayako as Shaolin. This is because Nakamori Qingzi and Shaolin look so similar, they are exactly the same. This question, in fact, when I first met Shaolin, I was also curious why Shaolin looked like Nakamori Ayako. Xiao Izumi Yuhiko had just transferred to Tedon High School. When I saw Shaolin for the first time, I also had this doubt. He directly mistaken Shaolin as Nakamori Ayako, and even thought that Nakamori Ayako had also transferred to Tedon High School. But later Izumi Yuhiko realized that he was wrong. There are really people who look so similar in this world, and I was surprised for a while, and the little Izumi Yuhiko also let go of the surprise. Chapter 11:10. When did you learn to act coquettish and cute? Xiao Ai poked Chen with her finger, and then asked Chen, what are you going to do with this woman now? Ayako Mori is also a friend, so it's best not to hurt her. Little Izumi Yuhiko said towards Hung. After all, he is a friend of Ayako Nakamori. If possible, Izumi Yuhiko doesn't want Nakamori Ayoko to be imitated. Don't worry Yuhiko, I didn't plan to do anything to Nakamori Ayoko. Chen really didn't plan to do anything to Nakamori Ayoko. If he really wanted to do something to Nakamori Ayoko, he would have done it long ago. When she wakes up, let her open high. Chen said. Will you be so kind? Xiaoai looked at Chen and asked how. I don't believe that Chen is so kind and actually said to let her leave after she wakes up, which is a little incredible to Xiaoai. Of course. When did I feel bad? I've always been a kind person. Xiaoai, don't misunderstand me. Chen shook his head and said, misunderstanding. I can't misunderstand you. Xiaoai pouted to herself. Then there was no, when will Qing be able to wake up? Xiaoming Yuhiko asked Chen. Looking at Qingzi's appearance, little Izumi Yuhiko didn't know when she would wake up. This question, I don't know how long it will take. I'll be able to wake up. Chen also didn't know when Nakamori Ayoko would wake up. He was probably too frightened. As for when he would wake up, it also depends on Nakamori Ayoko himself. After waiting for more than half an hour, after Chen and the others had eaten breakfast, Nakamori Ayoko slowly woke up. This is me. Nakamori Ayoko had just woken up at this time, a little dazed. But then the blankness in Mori Qingzi's eyes disappeared, all the previous things had been remembered, and there was no fear on his face. Qingzi, how big are you? Izumi Yuhiko found out that something was wrong with Qingzi, and then asked Nakamori Ayoko. The moonlight of Nakamori Ayoko looked towards the little Izumi Yuhiko. After seeing the little Izumi Yuhiko, she was relieved at first, but she immediately became vigilant. You, who are you? Nakamori Ayoko asked little Izumi Yuhiko. Little Izumi Yuhiko was questioned by Nakamori Ayoko's 10-year-old words. Shouldn't there be no 4 sides in such a short time? Now you have even me I don't know 7 sides 2 inches Qingzi. You don't even know me 2 inches. Little Izumi Yuhiko felt a little uncomfortable and Nakamori Tsukiko said that robbing is a friend, but now they don't even know themselves. I forgot about myself. You are really Yuhiko, not something special. Nakamori Ayoko confirmed to Yuhiko. What's going on? Little Izumi Yuhiko asked Chen. She was sure that it was definitely related to Chen. Cough cough, didn't I say it before? I just frightened her, but it wasn't that she couldn't help but frighten her. Chen opened his mouth and said. Xiao Izumi Yuhiko was stunned for a while. When I was before, Chen really didn't say that far. Maybe I told Xiaoai, and I hadn't come out at that time. I gave Chen Bai an angry look, actually scared. Shish, girl, I guess only you can do this kind of thing. Little Izumi Yuhiko thinks that this kind of dishonest thing is not something ordinary people can do, and only Chen can do it. Ayoko can be considered a little beauty no matter what. Equals 5 and she looks exactly like Shaolin, and she can actually scare her. And this shock is definitely not an ordinary shock. Nakamori Ayoko is definitely frightened. It won't pass out. Ordinary fright, of course, will never make people faint. You scare me before. After Nakamori Ayoko heard it, she immediately looked at Chen, and then Nakamori Ayoko felt in her heart, suddenly there was a burst of color. Son, it turns out that everything I saw before was because of you scaring me. Ayoko Nakamori, who had some grievances with Chen, has completely fainted now. Wow, I cried immediately. I actually cried. Chen couldn't help but pouted. As for crying, I don't know, I thought I was bullying you. No, I seem to be bullying her. Little Izumi Yuhiko glared at Chen angrily at this time. Then hugged Ayoko Nakamori and began to comfort Ayoko Nakamori. I really despise you. Xiaoai looked at Chen with a look of contempt. I begged for flowers. If you dare to talk about every video again, believe it or not, I'll fix you right now. Done 2 inches. Chen looked threateningly. Xiaoai said, what, do you want to fix me? Are you really willing? Xiaoai blinked suddenly and asked towards Chen. To be honest, when she saw Xiaoai like this, Chen was stunned. After a while, Xiaoai actually learned to act coquettish and cute. When did you learn to act cute and cute? Chen asked Xiaoai with a surprised look on her face. She felt that this should be exclusive to Xiaoai. I just learned it suddenly, can't I? This is a woman's talent. Do I still need to learn? Xiao Tsunere glanced at Chen, and then said, Really? Are these the talents of your women? For Jing, you are wrong, you are at most a little girl now, and women are too far away from you, so don't say such things. Izumi Yuhiko, a small villager, suddenly said something to Xiao Ai with a teasing smile. Xiao Ai couldn't help biting Kiba and looked at Xiao Izumi Yuhiko. This woman. I feel that she is so hateful, and she clearly knows what she is in the end. Did you do it on purpose? Xiao Ai asked Xiao Izumi Yuhiko. Well, that's right, I said it on purpose. Little Izumi Yuhiko smiled at Xiao Ai. And you can't be considered a woman originally. Xiao Liangzi looked at Xiao Ai Ryu Shin with a special look. With Xiao Ai's cleverness, she should know what she meant. Damn. Of course, Xiao Ai knew what Xiao Izumi Yuhiko meant. She did not transform into a woman. Ayoko, we finally meet again. Don't face me with such an ugly look of crying, okay? Little Izumi Yuhiko said to Ayoko. After a little Izumi Yuhiko said. Nakamori Ayoko, who was still crying, immediately stopped crying. Indeed, if you cry like this, it will be too embarrassing, especially in front of your former friends. Telling your friends to see your ugly side and thinking about it every day. Nakamori Chingang feels so shy, and blames this man for entering. If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be so embarrassed. Thinking about it, Nakamori Chingzi couldn't help but glared at Chen Wan fiercely. Chapter 11:11. You are still relying on me now. Nakamori Ayoko is staring at him and can't wait to bite at Chen. If you don't care about her ladylike demeanor, I will definitely take a bite towards Chen. Don't work hard. Is it not your fault? Chen said to Nakamori Chingzi. What do I have? Nakamori Chingzi asked Chen Tian in dissatisfaction. Oh, then you now think that you are following others, and you are breaking into other people's homes without their consent. Isn't it wrong? Chen glanced at Nakamori Ayoko, and then said calmly. Nakamori Ayoko, who was glaring at Chen, shrank his head, feeling a little guilty in his heart. If you come in from this aspect, it seems that she is indeed there. The tone of, I am also Yuhiko's home here. I come to Yuhi to stay at 50's house, can't I? Nakamori Ayoko tried to defend herself for a year. Really? Then let me tell you. This is not only Yuhiko's home, but also my home. Chen said. The little Izumi Yuhi heard the words with a slightly Yuhi face, and then did not refute Chen's words. Actually, she is now Chen's whole person, and her family is equivalent to a dowry. What does he mean? Is Yuhiko and Yuhiko a relative's military? Nakamori Ayoko asked a somewhat dazed question. No, our relationship is more intimate. Yuhiko is my woman. What? Nakamori Ayoko was surprised and looked at the little Izumi Yuhiko, and then asked the little Izumi Yuhiko, isn't it because of him, Yuhiko, that you transferred schools and left? Yes, indeed there is a reason for this. Little Izumi Yuhiko didn't deny it. The reason why he transferred to Dedan High School was indeed because of Chen. If it wasn't for Chen, little Izumi Yuhiko would never have been able to transfer to Dedan High School in his entire life. A little more handsome. What's good? Nakamori Ayoko looked at Chen's Xiangguang with some dissatisfaction, and was frightened and fainted by Chen. It's normal for Nakamori Ayoko to be dissatisfied with Chen in her heart. By the way, how did you do it before? At this time, Ayoko Nakamori asked Chen curiously. In the previous scene changes, Ayoko Mori wanted to know how Chen did it. Is it magic? The childhood sweetheart who played magic, Kato the Kaido Kid. Of course, Nakasan Ayoko didn't know that Kato the Kaido Kid was the Kato Kuroba. In fact, Ayoko Nakamori hated Kato the Kaido. Because Kato Kid was her father Nakamori Silver Sand's arch-enemy. Nakamori Silver Sun's dream is to catch the arch-enemy of the Phantom Thief Kid. However, every time he will be run away by the Phantom Thief Kid, and he will also tease her father, causing Nakamori Ayoko I don't have a half-point favor with Kato Kid. Chen is very curious. If Nakamori Ayoko knew that Kuroba Kato was Kato, I don't know what would happen. Would he break up with Kato Kuroba and bow 2 inches? You are very curious. Yes, but do you think he'll tell you? Chen approached Nakamori Ayoko and asked Nakamori Ayoko. At this time, the distance between Chen and Nakamori Aoko was a little close, and they were even close to each other, looking at the handsome face who was close at hand. Nakamori Aoko's face is Yuhi's, and she has never been so close to the opposite sex. So Nakamori Aoko is naturally a little shy. Can you stay away from me? Nakamori Aoko took 2 steps back, and then said. Pin Xiao Izumi Yuhiko and Xiao I looked at Chen speechlessly. Is this trying to take advantage of others? Humph. Xiao I gave a cold sail. Although she didn't say anything, she could understand what Xiao I wanted to express later. Okay, you're awake now, too, and it's time to leave. Chen issued an expulsion order to Nakamori Aoko, so let me leave. Nakamori Aoko was slightly stunned when he heard the words, and then he looked angry. Hi, you and I haven't settled the account yet. ZZ Nakamori sat down and said that he would never say anything to leave easily. He mocked himself before and then frightened himself to faint. He has never suffered such a big loss yet. What's the matter? Do you still want me to apologize to you? Chen glanced at Nakamori Aoko lightly, and then asked Nakamori Aoko. Nakamori Aoko nodded, and then said indifferently, yes, shouldn't you apologize? Is it? Let's not talk about the previous thing for now. But you should apologize for the thing that made her faint. You should know the time at that time. Aoko Nakamori was really scared to death. It's even scarier than going to a haunted house. Nakamori Aoko has a similar personality to Shaolin, and she is more afraid of that kind of supernatural things. Even if she knows it's fake, Nakamori Aoko is afraid. What's more, Nakamori Aoko couldn't feel it was fake at all. That kind of scene is almost the same as the real one, and she still remembers it fresh. Even as long as she closes her eyes, the pictures will flash in front of her eyes constantly. I got on. Chen sat down and looked at Nakamori Aoko interestingly. There was nothing to do anyway, and Chen didn't mind chatting with Aoko Nakamori. Aoko, I gave you advice as a friend. You should leave now. Little Izumi Yuhiko advised Nakamori Aoko. Because stay here. Aoko Nakamori is definitely not good enough, and even puts herself in it. Enzyme, if you don't apologize, I will definitely not be lofty. Nakamori Aoko's attitude is very firm. In fact, Nakamori Aoko is staying here for another reason, because of fear. You must know that there are no people here. The location comparison, the remoteness. And Nakamori Aoko was so frightened by Chen just now that she didn't dare to leave, so she stayed here. 3.2 Of course. And there are insects. Aoko Mori is really angry, and wants Chen to give it. She apologized. The things she is afraid of are absolutely impossible to say. The flesh is Nakamori Aoko, who is afraid of being embarrassed after saying it, and facing everyone's contemptuous eyes, but she was really frightened before. Nakamori Aoko feels that she may have a long way to go. Yuhiko, are you ready to come back now? Nakamori Aoko asked Yuhiko. After chatting with Yuhiko, he also shifted his attention and removed the fear in his heart. No, I'm coming back to get some stuff, and then I'm leaving. Little Izumi Yuhiko shook her head at Nakamori Takako, which made Nakamori Aoko a little disappointed in her heart. Then Nakamori Aoko glanced at Chen again, and she didn't know why Yuhiko was interested in this man. Was it really because of his looks? The reason for being handsome? I didn't know Yuhiko was so pretty. Why would I look at you? Aoko Nakamori said to Chen. Because there is a reason for resentment towards Chen, so when he speaks, he likes to reject Chen. Do you want to know the reason for the second time? Chen suddenly smiled evilly, and then asked Nakamori. Road. Instinctively told Nakamori Chingmeiyu not to understand, and Nakamori Chingzi also obeyed his own instincts. Immediately distanced himself from Chen. Pulling away the distance, and looking at Chen with the kind of eyes that are not optimistic. But it is not wrong, Chen is not a good person. I don't want to know anything. Nakamori Aoko looked at Chen vigilantly. If that's the case, then you're ready to leave, and we're leaving too. Chen once again issued an expulsion order to the poisonous child. You want to leave? Nakamori Aoko's expression froze slightly. Yeah, we're leaving. It doesn't matter if you stay here, but if anything will happen here, then only God knows. Chen looked at Nakamori with a malicious smile. Ayoko, Nakamori. Ayoko's complexion changed greatly. What if the previous scene reappears? Anyway, Ayoko Nakamori has already had a psychological shadow on this castle in 04, and the area of the psychological shadow is not small. In fact, Zonji Qingzi also wanted to leave, but in her own words, she didn't dare at all. Well, can you please bring me to open here together? At this time, Nakamori Qingzi doesn't care about face anymore. Face is here. Time doesn't matter anymore. What matters is how to get out of here. Oh, you're leaving with us. Don't get me wrong, I'm just asking you to take me out of this place. I'm scared. Nakamori. Ayoko said with a little trembling. Looking at Nakamori. Ayoko's trembling appearance, little Izumi Yuhiko was still a little speechless, and then glanced at Chen. What are you scaring people? I remember Nakamori. Ayoko's courage is also quite strong. Big. I don't know what kind of fright she gave her. That's why Nakamori. Ayoko was frightened like this. Then Ayoko, come with us. Little Izumi Yuhiko said. Hearing Yuhiko's opening, Ayoko was relieved. But Nakamori. Ayoko felt very shy in her heart. In the past, since should be more embarrassing, she actually said that she was afraid, and she didn't know. Guide how Yuhiko thinks of herself. In fact, Nakamori thinks too much. Yuhiko doesn't look at Qingzi, but looks at Shangchen, which is a little strange. Raising a beautiful woman and being with Shaolin, it's too much for you to scare people like this for a beautiful woman who looks so similar. But she is a witch, and she doesn't seem to be qualified to say that Chen is too much, because when she does things, she seems to be too much. Yuhiko. I agreed. Of course Chen wouldn't say anything, not to mention that Chen didn't have any bad feelings towards Nakamori. Ayoko. I drove away from here, then Chen put Nakamori. Ayoko down. Nakamori. Ayoko looked at him with a fierce face, as if Chen remembered it. Wait, I will definitely seek revenge on you once. Ayoko. Nakamori released a cruel word towards Chen. Yo, you still want to seek revenge on me? But do you think you can do it? Chen glanced at Nakamori. Ayoko, and then said lightly in that plain tone, which made Nakamori. Ayoko tickle a little Kiba, and couldn't help but snorted coldly at Chen. Go ahead, I absolutely will. In the middle of the product, Mori Qingzi gestured towards Chen with a fist, and he has never suffered a big loss. This time, he completely remembered the game. Okay, I'm waiting for you to come to me for revenge. I hope you don't take yourself in. Chen smiled slightly, then drove away. What do you mean, put yourself in? Nakamori. Ayoko glanced at the car that was far away. Anyway, this matter must not be forgotten. I was scared to death, and I absolutely wanted to avenge him. 3. Nakamori. Machiko bit Silver Kiba. Women are more observant, especially beautiful women. And although Nakamori. Ayoko is still just a girl, she absolutely loves her revenge and is still very vengeful. Nakamori. Ayoko stomped her feet. Then she went home, but when she went back, Nakamori. Ayoko basically chose places with a lot of people to give her courage. After all, she was frightened before. When she saw other people, Nakamori. Ayoko could feel at ease. Not long after Nakamori. Ayoko left, a figure came out of the hidden place. If Nakamori Youth was still here, this person would definitely be very familiar to him. Because this person is Nakamori. Ayoko's childhood sweetheart, Kuroba Kuihu. That is now, Kato Kid. Kato Kuroba is Kato Kid. Second generation. The first generation of Kaito Kid is Kuroba Kuito. Hyuga-chan. Why is he here, and what is his relationship with Ayoko? Kuroba Kuito's face was very ugly. Originally, he came to this place to buy things, and then he saw Ayoko getting out of the car, and then after Kuroba Kuito saw Shangchen sitting in the car. At that time, Wu Kuito didn't show up, instead he hid himself and didn't want to disturb Hyuga-chen. In fact, Hyuga didn't know that when he looked over, Chen had already noticed Yichen's keenness, and it was too easy to find Hyuga, and he found Hyuga easily. It's just that Chen didn't do anything, and Kuroba Kato didn't know that he had been discovered. Can you ask Ayoko? Kuroba wanted to greet Ayoko. The main thing about Hyuga-chen is, Kuroba Kuito wants to know the relationship between the two. Kuroba Kuito felt very uncomfortable when he saw the child getting out of the previous car. Yukui took out his cell phone, and Kuroba Kuito called Ayoko. At this time, Chingzi was still walking home, and when she heard the ringing of her mobile phone, she was taken aback. Huh, scared me to death. Chingzi felt startled, and then looked at who was calling in angrily. It's actually a call from Kuito. Chingzi wrinkled suddenly, then he chose to answer. Hey, what are you doing on the phone with me? Chingzi said angrily. It's here, and there is a conflict between her and Kuroba Kato now. Of course, the reason is that Kuroba has praised the thief kid in front of her. I don't care that Ayoko hates Kato kid, so naturally there is a contradiction. Black Yu Kato is Kato the Kaito, so to praise Kato the Kaito is to praise himself. 3 And because of his father, Nakamori hates Kato the Kaito very much, so naturally he can't stand Kuya Kuito to praise Kato the Kaito in front of her. Chapter 11:13. Kuroba Kato's tone of voice was very good, and Kuroba Kato felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, but in the end, Kuroba Kato held back. Now is not the time to quarrel with Ayoko, and Key Island asks about Hyuga-chen, and why Ayoko is with Hyuga-chen. 0 inches Ayoko, I asked you about important things, why do you know Hiyori? Kuroba Kuito asked Ayoko after interrupting Ayoko's other words. Why did she know Hyuga-chen? Ordinarily Ayoko should not. Is there any intersection between Hyuga-chen, and also, what is the purpose of Hyuga-chen here? Kuroba Kato and Hyuga-chen are also enemies. One thing, that is, my mother went to find Hyuga-chen. Oh, the point is that there is no contact now. So Kuroba Kuito's score was a little bit worried. Even his mother Kuroba Shudai rarely communicates with him. But not this time. This time he knew that his mother went to Hyuga-chen. So this is no room for Kuroba Kato not to worry. Before, Kuroba Kato wanted to go to Hyuga-chen and ask about it. It's just that he can't walk away now, so Kuroba Kuito didn't go either, but Kuroba Kuito didn't forget. Who is Chen? I.e. Chingzi frowned and asked, okay. In fact, Chingzi still doesn't know Chen's name, so it's normal not to know at this time. But Kuroba Kato is not clear about this point. God touched tilde. Kuroba Kato couldn't control himself. He punched the telephone pole next to him, and he was indifferent even though his hands were scratched. Originally, Kuroha Kuito had some misunderstandings and doubts in his heart, but now he clearly saw the conversation between Ayoko and Hyuga-chen, but Ayoko denied it, which was taken by Kuroha Kato as a fool. Deliberately not to say, deliberately pretending to be stupid. If there is no internal story about this, Kuroba Kuito would never believe it even if it was a face-to-face. I saw you with him before, you really don't know him tilde 3 inches Kuroba asked with anger. Being questioned like this, Ayoko's heart was also very unchanged, but then Ayoko suddenly came back to her senses and seemed to understand a little. Kuroba Kuito said, could it be that very hateful guy? Damn, forgot to ask the guy's name. After Jing went to think of Chen, it was even more difficult. Oh, but Ayoko is also very curious, why does Kuroba Kato seem to know that guy? How did they know each other? Although Ayoko's little insight is very curious, but because of Kuroba Kato's attitude. Of course Ayoko wouldn't say it. Just hang up the phone. After that, I will ignore Kuroba Kuito at all. Miss Ben was very upset. At this time, you came to piss me off. Ayoko, who was capricious for a while, hung up the phone, while Kuroba Kuito on the other side punched the telephone pole again. The wires are also very innocent. It was obvious that they didn't recruit anyone, but they were already punched twice. But the poles are okay. As for Kuroba Kuito's fist, the result of touching the re-battle stick can be imagined. It is estimated that people who see Kuroba Kuito's behavior will think that he is a fool. At this moment, Heifei Kuito came here, but he also left behind him. These are no longer important, the important thing is to understand the information of Hyuga-chen. It is necessary to know about the Japanese way people, especially his relationship with Ayoko. Hyuga-chen, I hope you don't deceive Ayoko, or I won't let you go. Kuroba clenched his fist and vowed to return home, and after saying hello to the housekeeper, Kuroba left the house. Kuroba Kuito is about to go to Rice Flower Town. This time, Kuroba Kuito had to investigate. Let's go, because this matter involves Ayoko. I don't know what the relationship between Aishongshin and Ayoko is. Yu Kato felt at ease in his heart. And besides this country, Kuroba Kato has other 100. The other month is of course to find Chikage Kuroba, and now he can't contact Chikage, and he doesn't know what is going on with this unreliable mother. Kuroba Kato never imagined it. Kuroba Chikage is already Chen's woman, and Kuroba Kuito should be considered Chen's cheap son. If Kuroba Kuito knew about this, he would probably go crazy. At that time, he should choose Hekken to work hard. It is also possible to take love like this. After all, he absolutely wants to accept such a thing. Kuroba Kuito went to Krabi Flower Town. As for the matter of going to school, Kuroba Kuito has no thoughts for the time being. So I took a long vacation straight to the wall. Anyway, Kuroba Kuito often asks for leave, and he is good at studying, so the teacher also allows Kuroha Kuito to ask for leave. Chen has already returned home at this time. He didn't know that Kuroba Kato was coming to find him. Knowing this, he doesn't care about it. Anyway, he doesn't care whether Kuroba Kuito is his cheap son or not. If he really wants to fight against Kuroba Kuito, it will definitely not be vague. Of course, he doesn't know this now. Tilda, I thought you would come back yesterday, but I didn't expect to come back today. Belmod walked out of the room and said, Bermode, come and help, do a favor. Chen said to Bermold, what are you doing? Bermuda came over curiously and asked Chen in confusion. Help me move some of Yuhiko's books into the room. Chen pointed to Yuhiko's books, and some props. The car was full, and Belmod was a little surprised when he saw it. He didn't expect that Yuhizi had so many things. Nothing to do. Bai Ying naturally came to help. Cheng, okay, can I see these? Judy hesitated and asked Yuhiko. Judy felt that it was too difficult to surpass Belmod in terms of ninjutsu. So it's better to start somewhere else. Let's see if we can rely on magic to defeat Belmod. Anyway, this is what Judy thought at this time. It's not impossible that you want to see these. Yuhiko at the small table nodded and did not refuse. If it was in the past, little Izumi Yuhiko certainly wouldn't show these things to others too politely. After all, these things are secret, and Jin can't let outsiders see the boat. But now after learning ninjutsu with Chen, little Izumi Yuhiko is looking at these things. Didn't care that much. Of course, it doesn't mean that you don't care at all. If you don't care about it at all, Izumi Yuhiko will not continue to study these magics. After all, it is a family tradition, so I still pay more attention to the products. Chapter 11-14. Teacher Judy is very good at learning. Mr. Judy, you can see it. But don't damage these books. Little Izumi Yuhiko said to Judy. No, I will cherish these books. May I nodded earnestly, and Izumi Yuhiko can give her a look, which is a great trust in her. So Judy will naturally not damage these books. She will be well off the save inside. By the way, Mr. Judy, if you want to increase your strength by learning magic, I advise you to give up. At the end, the little Izumi Yuhiko reminded Judy kindly, making Judy a little confused now. Why? Judy asked little Izumi Yuhiko in confusion. Izumi's son was thinking about how to explain it to Judy, when Chen said to Judy, because magic is not so easy to learn. Able to master. And in comparison, Judy doesn't know anything at all. How many years does she need to learn? Does she have that long? Also, magic 507 ca and compare to the ninjutsu you are learning now, at least in terms of power, magic can't at all compare, Chen said to the little Izumi Yuhiko. The second reason, didn't you see that Yuhiko didn't value magic so much, so Judy couldn't see it? Indeed, magic has some good abilities, but if there is a debate, it can't be compared with ninjutsu at all. In comparison, Izumi Yuhiko nodded and admitted that Chen's words are indeed a fact. After all, this is a scientific world, and it is an accident that magic can appear. The magic here, and the kind of real magic world. Magic, there is absolutely no way to compare it. Then I intend to take a look. Even if Guan heard Chen and Izumi Yuhiko say this, Judy still did not give up her plan. In addition to strengthening her strength, Judy actually had another purpose. It was to satisfy her own curiosity. Judy is very curious about things like that, but she is even more curious than when facing ninjutsu. I want to know more about magic. The curiosity in Judy's heart, AEC, is not concealed at all. Yes, there is no need to conceal anything here. Well, if there is anything you don't understand, Mr. Meaty, you can come and ask me. Little Izumi Yuhi said to Judy. Since Yuhi, you said so. I'm afraid I'm not qualified to be your teacher, and I don't need to call me a teacher in the future. Little Izumi Yuhiko said to Judy. There is no need to call her a teacher. Judy feels that she can't take it anymore. After all, in some areas, she is indeed inferior to the little Izumi Yuhiko. Even in terms of some cultural knowledge, Judy can't be a mother to little Izumi Yuhi at all. After all, if you want to become a witch, you need to learn a lot of knowledge, so Izumi Yuhiko is a very literate person. If there is anything I really don't understand, I need to wait for you, then. Yuhiko, please don't answer. Judy winked at little Izumi Yuhiko. Then she said, as long as I have time, I will definitely give you an answer, and it feels good to accept an apprentice. Little Izumi Yuhiko said with a smile if GD followed her to study. Then this is her apprentice. Of course, this is just a joke, and Judy can't really be called little Izumi Yuhiko teacher. 3 inches elder sister. We haven't eaten yet. Do you have anything to eat? Xiaoai asked Mingmei. Now Xiaoai is really hungry. Because it was in the morning. Xiaoai didn't eat breakfast because of anger with Chen. As for the reason for anger, of course it is because Nakamori Aoko is gone. Xiaoai is hungry, then I'll make it for you. Mingming said to Xiaoai, and then Mingmei walked into the room. By the way, I still need you to do me a favor. Little Yuhiko said to Xiaoai at this time. You should know that I'm currently researching a potion, and I hope you can help me. I'll help you. I'm afraid I can't help you with this. Xiaoai couldn't help but say. On this, Xiaoai really doesn't think that she can help Xiao Izumi Yuhiko. After all, this is a potion, and it is related to magic. Xiaoai is not familiar with it, so I don't dare to make a promise. Help. I don't have fun. I just try it out and see what can be researched from the combination of yawen and science. At that time, it can be seen that Chen will be asked to help test the efficacy of the medicine. Xiao Izumi Yuhiko suddenly looked at Chen. Chen's expression was slightly stunned, and then she stared at Xiao Izumi Yuhiko angrily. Let him be a guinea pig. Don't look for me, look for someone else. Chen said angrily. Although no matter what little Izumi Yuhiko creates, it can't cause him any harm, but Chen doesn't want to try it. It's like putting a poison in front of you. Even if you know it won't kill you, you won't drink it. Also, what Xiaoshan Yuhizi made, I'm afraid even Xiaoji Yuhizi himself doesn't know. What is it that you made yourself? Hey, what about Judy? Chen just turned around and found that Judy had disappeared. Mr. Judy has studied. It seems that teacher Judy is very good at learning. Little Izumi Yuhiko is right. Judy has already taken the little Izumi Yuhiko's book to study. As for what she can learn, Shinchan is not optimistic about her. Chen feels that if she can persist for 3 days, she will definitely scratch and look at each other. At the beginning, Chen also hadn't read Izumi Yuhiko's magic book. Even Chen didn't have the patience to read it, so he didn't believe that Judy could persevere. It seems that Judy is very persistent in taking revenge on me. Belmod said. Who made you do all the bad things? Xiaoai glanced at Belmod after hearing this, and then said calmly. You are compared with me. It's not much better. 2Q the drug you developed, but it harmed no one, especially your parents. Belmod gave Xiaoai a cold look. In fact, in Belmod's heart, he also hated Xiaoai's parents. Yes, but now Belmod has taken those hatreds to heart. Belmod has let it go. But Xiaoai is still hostile to Belmod. The main reason is that he was bullied by Belmod in the past. If it was herself, Xiaoai might want to see it like this, but including her own sister who has been bullied. Xiao-ai naturally doesn't want to do that. So it has always been. Xiao-ai's hostility to Belmod has always been neither put down the tea. Chapter 11:15. Little Mouse. You two, can you stay calm? It's better not to fight. Chen watched Belmod and Xiao-ai and said to them that if the two of them really fight, Chen will be big. So when I saw that they had this sign, I hurriedly stopped them. For Chen's sake, I'll just let you go, this little girl. Big Belmod snorted coldly, expressing that he didn't have the same knowledge as Xiao-ai. I let you go. Xiao-ai didn't admit defeat, at least verbally. As for the strength of the opponent's opponent 3, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Xiao-ai knew that the two of them couldn't fight at all. Have a look here. How can they get together? Even if they really want to fight, the bottom will definitely stop them. Even when the time comes. Later, I will take the opportunity to clean up the two of them, so I will never let Chen grab the handle. Let's go into the house, and see if Mingmei has cooked food. Chen said to Xiao-ai and the others. But not forgotten. Help Yuhiko move in her books. Taigai won't go back in the future. I feel that the house over there is ready to be sold. Little Izumi Yuhiko sat down. However, he said that the important items in the house are now. Most of them have moved here, and they are not going back now. Yuhi's son was happy to sell his family's castle. 9 inches. Why are you selling it? Are you short of money? Chen asked the little Izumi Yuhiko. Yuhi shook his head. It was absolutely impossible to be short of money. What was her identity? She was a witch, and the money left in their family was enough for her to use for 10 lifetimes. Don't think that Yuhizi is alone, but Yuhizi is an absolute high-quality woman. Since you don't lack money, why are you selling Joe? Also, I'm not short of money, just keep it. Higangqiang was also handed down by his ancestors, so it would be a little bad if he sold it. Little Izumi Yuhi nodded. I was thinking about wasting it before, but now little Izumi Yuhi has come back to my senses. Don't care about wasting or not. It's ready. At this time, Mingmei was carrying the cooking. She came out of the kitchen, and the preparations were very rich, and the most important thing was that the taste was superly. 3 inches. Mingmei, I feel that your cooking skills have improved a lot. Yuan Shangzu. Mingmei praised Dao Mingmei with a pursed smile, contacted Wei Yi Yuhi, and when she was praised by Chen, Mingmei couldn't help feeling a little excited. Come back, don't be proud. Xiao-ai waved at Mingmei. Let Mingmei come back to her senses. After she came back to her senses, Mingmei glared at Xiao-ai angrily. The next day, Kuroba Kuito had arrived near Chen's house. However, Kuroba Kato had no intention of going in. Jilas. This time, Kuroba Tokudo decided to be cautious, and absolutely must not be reckless even if he has his own will. This is a lesson learned after suffering a loss. After these lessons, Kuroba Kato was not so reckless. Don't dare to be so reckless. Without going in, Kuroba Kuito investigates the surroundings temporarily, and by the way, investigates the information about Hyuga Chen. In the past, Kuroba Kuito had also been transferred, but the investigation was not so clear, and he didn't know enough about Ningyuchen. Now Kuroba Kasho must investigate more. Learn more about Hyuga Tatsuguchi, the only way to ensure his own safety. 2 inches. Well, are you out yet? Kuroba Kuito saw Tatsuya's car leaving the house, and the light suddenly froze, took out the transmitter of the tracker, and pointed towards Chen's car. Hit him. However, it was too far away from Gao, and Chen's car suddenly accelerated, and the transmitter failed. Damn, has this been discovered? Ordinarily it should be possible. No matter how powerful Hyuga-chan is, it is impossible to find him so far away. There must be other reasons. Kuroba Kato followed secretly. Kuroba Kato's tracking ability is so powerful that he can be a big thief. If these abilities are not Grandmaster, then he can't become a big thief. Of course, Kuroba Kato and the real big thief in the world compared to thieves, the heat is even worse. There is a little mouse behind him. Chen calmly said that Kuroba Kato was following, and of course Chen was able to find it. No matter how well it was hidden, it couldn't be hidden from Tatsuya. 0 inches. It turned out to be this brat, Kuroba Kato, who followed him at that time. Is that right? Although Chen didn't look back, the Kuroha Kato behind him had already appeared in his mind. If Kuroha Kato knew, I wonder if he would have the courage to continue to follow. In the end, Chen ignored it. What's more, it was the house of Yingri, the concubine. I went to pick up Yukiko and called Yukiko to tell him to come back and asked him to go to Shangzi to pick her up, but Chen couldn't do anything about it. After all, it was her own woman's request, even if she wanted to refuse. No, if Chen really refuses, I'm afraid Yukiko will start to make trouble, so in order to prevent Yukiko from making trouble, he should go there. The car quickly came to the downstairs of Fei Yingli's house, and then Chen went upstairs. As for Kuroba Kuito who ran behind him. Sorry, there is no shadow in the face. After all, Kuroba Kuito has no means of transportation. 3. He can't run a car. Electricity makes him have a glider, but he has nowhere to see the ground. Use it, unless you go up high-rise buildings. Fly with Chen, but if he dares to be so high profile, the police will definitely come to talk to him. Ding dong tilde, Chen pressed the doorbell. And not long after, the door was opened. The person who opened the door was Xiaolan. Xiaohui, is you are still here. After Chen Zhu arrived at Shaolin, he was slightly surprised. Yeah, I invited you over that day. You didn't come. Xiaolan pouted happily. Cough cough. It's not that I don't want to come, but I really have something to do, so it's inconvenient, so I can't come at all. Chen immediately said, don't say those reasons. I think you just don't want to go shopping with us. It's necessary continue to make up reasons. I really think we don't know you. Yukiko came over and said with a pouted mouth. I said, can you let me in first? Can't you let me stand straight at the door? Chen Tushao shrugged and said. I'm sorry to go to the sea, come in quickly. Shaolin's face was slightly yuhi, as if a little rude, and the relationship between Chen and Chen is not necessary at all. Chen walked into the house. Fei Yingli was drinking coffee to work. Chen looked at Fei Yingli strangely, remembering that Fei Yingli said last time that she wanted to give herself a holiday towel. Chapter 11:16. Do you really have cooking skills? Didn't you say before that you want to take a vacation for yourself? I didn't expect you to work so hard now, said Fei Yingri, who was working hard. No way, after all, I have to earn a dowry for Shaolin. Fei Yingli gave Chi-Chi a look at Chen, and then said. After Yiyuan Shaolin heard Fei Yingli's words, her cheeks instantly turned to Yuhi, and she was a little embarrassed. Afterwards, Shaolin's moonlight secretly glanced at Chen, shy and a little unable to raise her head. Is Shaolin shy? Yukiko joked to Shaolin. Yukiko likes to tease Shaolin very much, and then look at the expression of Shuijiao, and Yukiko has always been like this. Although Shaolin was very shy by being ordered, she still did not fight back against Yuki. After all, in Shaolin's eyes, Yuki's soil mist should be regarded as the elder of the present. Although Yukiko keeps asking Shaolin to call her sister, but when Shaolin treats Yukiko, she still treats her as an elder. But what Shaolan never expected was that the two of them were really sisters, because you had Chen. Actually, my mother had an entrustment before, but now I'm embarrassed to refuse. So I can only finish the class, and after the completion, my mother decides to rest for a while. Shaolin told Yuan about Fei Yingli's plan. That's right, Fei Yingli planned this way. After the foreigner has dealt with this commission, she will take a good rest for a while. Oh, that's how it is. Actually, it's better to rest a little more. After all, I'm not short of money, so why not? Desperately. Chen sometimes doesn't understand, concubine Yingli is obviously not short of money. Why do you have to work so hard? This is probably a strong woman. Chen doesn't understand Fei Yingli's thinking. It's over. Fei Yingli relieved the grass and put down the pen in her hand. I am sorry Chen, I didn't treat you well. Fei Yingli stood up to relieve her exhaustion, and then said to Chen, do we still need to be so polite? After all, the relationship is so close, isn't it? Chen said with a smile. Listening to Chen's words, Fei Yingli's face changed slightly. Indeed, you are my son-in-law. When Fei Yingli said the word, son-in-law, she couldn't help biting Kiba tightly, adding to her tone. Mom, what are you talking about? Before Shaolin was completely shy, Yukiko said it. At the time, Shaolin could still bear it, and now Pei Yingri also said the same, so the joke started. Bulin was shy and wanted to find a hole to get in. Actually, what your mother said was right. Chen patted it. Shaolin said to Shaolin with her head. Shaolin raised her hand and patted Chen lightly, and then lay down in Chen's arms. Anyway, she has already been known, so there is no need to be ashamed. I heard that you went to Yuhizi's house. Yu Examao asked towards Chen. How did you know that I didn't seem to tell you about this? Kaiyan looked at Yuhizi in surprise, a little curious how Yuhizi knew about it. Of course Mingmei told me when I called back. Yukiko said to Chen. Yes, I did go to Yuhizi's house. I helped Yuhizi to get some things. What are you doing here? I'm just a little curious about what Yuhizi's house looks like. You didn't say Yuhizi's house was a family with a very long tradition. Yuhiko is really curious, but she knows that Yuhiko is a witch. Yuhiko is very interested in the witch's family. If you tell me, maybe I'll go with it. It's really a pity for Yuhiko. It would be nice if I could go and have a look. I don't know what strange things are in Yuhiko's house. If you really go, you will be disappointed instead. It is better to leave an expectation. If you really want to go, you can go anytime. Chen said to Yuchizi. Then will you come with me often? Yuchizi asked Bloody Chen, who was looking forward to it. You've been expecting too much, but I'm not interested in going with you. Not pretending to spread his hand towards Yuchizi, he really had no interest in going again. Since you're not with me, forget it. I don't want to go by myself. Yukiko felt that it would be too boring if she went by herself. Chen, I recently learned cooking. Would you like to come and taste it? Fei Yingli asked Chen. Is it dark cooking? Chen felt a little horrified when he heard Fei Yingli talking about shopping skills. Do you really have cooking skills? Fortunately, this sentence was just recited by Chen in his heart, and he didn't really say it. If he really said it. If so, it is also up to Dao Fei Yingli to be angry. Well, there is a high probability that she will be angry. After all, those words are too hurtful. Fortunately, Chen didn't say these words. Chen, you underestimate me too much. I studied with Shaolin. Fei Yingli pointed to Shaolin next to her. Although being a mother and learning to cook with her own daughter is inevitably a bit embarrassing, Fei Yingli doesn't care. Anyway, the people here are not outsiders, so Fei Yingli is not afraid of a beautiful face. Chen glanced at Shaolin. Even though Shaolin was here, Chen still doubted Fei Yingli's cooking skills. Speaking of cooking skills, sometimes it doesn't matter who teaches them. It depends on talent. Chen doesn't think Fei Yingli can make anything delicious. Actually, my mother has really made great progress. Shaolin said to Chen A3 this. When Shaolin did not cheat Chen, Fei Yingli's cooking skills have improved a lot. In the past, she couldn't even tell the difference between chai, oil, and salt. Now she can clearly distinguish and control it. It's good. If you can do this, Fei Yingli's food will definitely not be so bad, of course. It's impossible to say how delicious it is. It can only be said to be ordinary. It's not high, but it's not low. Concubine 3.8 Yingli walked into the kitchen and told Shaolin not to enter the kitchen. Chen questioned her, and Fei Yingli immediately wanted to make something for Chen to taste. She wanted to tell Chen that even if her cooking skills were poor, as long as she has gone through systematic study, she can still achieve a high level of cooking skills. Although she is average now. But Fei Yingli has no plans to give up. Fei Yingli also plans to continue to learn Ji, and strive to make Chen completely scrape look at the phases of the moon. As for Fei Yingli's heart, why she cares about Yi Chen's opinion so much, then only Fei Yingli knows it. No. Yuchizi, who is the most good friend of Fei Ying, is also clearer in her heart, and blinks towards Chen. Shrugging, then look forward to Fei Yingli's cooking skills, and this time Chen has already made a plan. Even if Fei Yingli's food is bad, it will definitely be delicious. Chapter 11:17. Fei Yingli asked her husband to live. How is it? Fei Yingli asked Chen in anticipation after carefully preparing a meal, to see what Chen said first. I don't think so. I didn't expect you to actually change my perception of you. Chen looked at Fei Yingli with some admiration. Now Fei Yingli makes a version of the dish. In fact, I can't say how delicious it is. But compared to the kind of unpalatable meal that used to be, it's way too strong now. A smile appeared on Fei Yingli's face, and sure enough, her hard work and persistence were useful. After tasting it myself, I don't know if it's because of psychological effects, Fei Yingli thinks it tastes better than Shaolin's. If Chen knew, he was absolutely sure that Fei Yingli himself was a psychological effect, and the cooking of this meal was also ordinary. It's not bad, but it's definitely not delicious. Shang, that's right, Chen, I want to talk to you about something. Fei Yingli said towards Luan. Huh, go ahead. Chen gave Fei Yingli a puzzled look, and then nodded at Fei Yingli. I want to live with you for a while. Fei Yingli looked at Chen and said to him. Go to live with me for a period of time. Chen looked at Fei Yingli in surprise. He didn't expect Fei Yingli to live with him for a period of time in 2004. Yeah, aren't you welcome? Fei Yingli asked Chen. If Yingri wants to come, of course you're welcome, but you suddenly want to live with me just for the sake of it. Chen asked concubine Yingri suspiciously. You want to ask why? That's me at home by myself. It's so boring. If you go to your place, there is another Yukiko who can talk to you. When Yukiko heard the words, she couldn't help but pouted, and muttered to herself, you definitely didn't go because of me, but you put me take it out and use it as a shield. Are you muttering about Yuyu? Fei Yingli just watched Yukiko tell the truth. Just now there was Kiko's murmur, and Fei Yingli could not help it. Who made the two of them so close together? I didn't say anything. Yuchizi pouted, knowing that Fei Yingli heard it. I didn't expect Fei Yingli's ears to be quite sensitive. Are you going to move in today, Yingri? Chen asked Fei Yingri. Well, I've already packed my things, and I don't have much. At most, I've changed the clothes. So you thought about getting ready beforehand. If I suddenly rejected you, what would you do? Nian couldn't help but ask. No, you won't reject me. Fei Yingli shook her head. She was absolutely certain. Chen will never refuse her. Why? Chen was curious. Why is Fu Yingli so confident? Why do you need more time? Because she knows you well enough. Yukiko said to Chen. Understand that you are a big pervert. Never reject a beautiful woman. That's why Fei Yingli is so sure. Of course, this was all in Yuchizi's heart, and there was absolutely no intention to say it, because Yuchizi knew that if she said it, Chen would never take it lightly. Yukiko's character has not yet reached the point of death. Then Shaolin, are you interested in coming to live in my house? Chen suddenly turned in the moonlight. He turned his attention to Shaolan. When Chen asked Shaolin for the room, Shaolin's face suddenly changed slightly. Then he shook his head to Chen. I still don't want to go. It's not that Shaolin doesn't want to go, but there is an old man named Maori Falang at home. According to Shaolin's understanding of her food dad, if she really leaves the house, then her father will definitely give it up. Okay, since Shaolin won't go, she can only take Fei Yingli with her. It's a pity that Chen's eyes show a look of pity. If possible, Chen really wants Shaolin to follow him to live at his house. But Chen also knows it. It is difficult for Shaolin to agree now. Are you going? Chen asked Fei Yingli. Don't be in a hurry. The first time I went to Miss Chestnut Hill Green. Fei Yingli shook her head. She also had to hand over the documents in her hand to Li Shanlu, and then the next case would be handed over to Li Shanlu. Although Li Shanlu was only an assistant, she had been with Fei Yingli for so many years. Her work ability is also very good. Strong. Some work can be done even by handing over to Li Shanlu, and this is only the finishing work. I believe that Li Shanlu will definitely be able to complete it very well. After waiting for a long time, Li Shanlu came to Fei Yingli's jobby. Excuse me, please, Miss Storm Mountain Green, after these tasks are done, take a good rest. It's not troublesome, Mr. Fei Yingri. Li Shanlu shook his head. In Li Shanlu's heart, Fei Yingli had a very good image. He taught her a lot of knowledge. Li Shanlu really regarded Fei Yingli as a teacher. Then Li Shanlu opened the door with the information in his hand. Chen also helped Fei Yingli prepare the salute in the hand, and moved towards the car. Ji Huan is ready. Then let's go. Hi. Zhou Renko said. Well, Fei Yingli nodded, then locked the door. It is estimated that the prince will not come back. Fei Yingli has already made a plan. This time, I have been resting for a while, and I have been tired for so long, so I can rest more. Decided to rest. Don't go to work secretly this time. Yukiko said to concubine Ari 750. I haven't tried so hard yet. Concubine Yingri rolled her eyes at Yukiko and listened to Yingri's words. Yukiko misses Yesao very much. I have seen how hard you work at work. Shaolin, then I'll take you home first. Chen said to Shaolin. Well, yes. Xiaobai nodded. I've lived here for a few days with my mother, so it's time to go back and have a look. I don't know if my father has been drinking. In terms of drinking and smoking, Maori Kogoro is still stubborn. He is absolutely certain about this. It's impossible to quit. Soon I came to the Maori detective office, and then Shaolin got out of the car and asked Fei Yingli. Mom, do you want to go up and have a look? Said quietly. Oh, Shaolandian didn't say anything, probably because he was tired, so Lan didn't have the thought of getting back together with Mori Kogoro again. Maybe it's because they really don't fit together, as a daughter. Shaolin didn't want to worry about it anymore. Let yourself have a good rest, her current studies are the most important, mainly because it is useless even if she wants to match. After the communication, Shaolin already knew that her mother no longer had any feelings for her father. So don't force it, let's just go with the flow. Chapter 11-18. If I have Kiko, I'm young and beautiful. Shaolan has already gone up. Let's go to my house. By the way, Yingri, you haven't been to my house, have you? Chen turned to look at Fei Yingri. Well, I haven't been to your house in Zaishang, so I don't know what the family is like. Fei Yingli's eyes showed a curiosity. Yo, the dignified Yingri is also curious. Seeing the curiosity in Fei Yingri's eyes, Yukiko said, Yukiko, do you know that your tone is a little sloppy now? Do you want me to teach you a lesson? Fei Yingli glanced at Yuchizi, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Actually, I'm not afraid of you. If you really fight Wei Yingri, you can't be my opponent. Yukiko has absolute confidence, if the two of them really fight. Yingri can't be her opponent. A single ninjutsu can destroy a house. Of course, it is not something that Fei Yingri can compare to. In the past, Yukiko is absolutely impossible to be Fei Yingri's opponent. Concubine Eri can know judo. Looking at Guanzi's confidence, it looks like Fei Yingli doesn't want to hit her. In Fei Yingli's heart, Yuan is definitely not her opponent. It's normal to think so, because Fei Yingli basically knows that Yukiko's strength has improved, so I don't think it's normal. Let me tell you something. Le Chen didn't say anything, just so quietly. By the way, Fei Yingli, let me tell you something, there are a lot of women in the Chen family. Yukiko said to Fei Yingri. After Yukiko finished speaking, Fei Yingri's expression stiffened for a moment, and then returned to normal. Concubine Yingri replied indifferently to Yukiko. Looking at Fei Yingri, Yukiko wanted to ask now, how did you know, Fei Yingli, did you want to ask how I knew Shishi? Fei Yingli looked at Yukiko and asked. Yukiko nodded. She really wanted to know, how did Kainri know, this although it is not important to Yukiko, it can raise this capital in Yukiko's heart. Ran faint equals laugh, but Joe turned his head and stopped looking at Yukiko. Anyway, even if Yukiko really wanted to do it again, Fu Yingli would definitely not. What did you say to Yukiko? Don't say it. Yukiko opened her mouth, although she really wanted to know. But Yukiko still wouldn't ask her concubine Yingri to answer her. Eri, what are you thinking in your heart now? Yukiko asked Yingri, and at the same time Yukiko's face had an expression of watching a good show, and the guide glanced at Chenya next to him. What do you think I will think? At this time, concubine Eri's face didn't show anything wrong, and Yukiko couldn't see anything at all. Can only shake his head in disappointment. I'm not you, how can I know what you think? It's Fei Yingli, how can I know what Fei Yingli thinks? Why don't you speak, so quiet Wang Hai Hai, Yukiko didn't want to pay attention to the concubine Yingri. The seatful lying in front asked Chen in the driver's seat. I want to drive with peace of mind and can't speak. Chen said with a blank face. Cut, driving can still affect you. I found that you are so boring. Yukiko looked like you were all boring. It's you who can't be quiet. I said can't you be quiet? Chen finally couldn't help it, and said to Yuchizi, are you despising me, Chen? Yuchizi looked at Chen pitifully, feeling that Chen now it's just to dislike her. No, Yushizayu, how could I dislike you when you're cute? I'm not blind. Chen shook his head directly to indicate no. Cute. Yuchizi was speechless for a while Fei Yingli next to her couldn't help but covered her mouth and smiled. Chen actually described Yuchizi as cute. Am I cute? Why don't you say I'm pretty? You say it like I'm like a child who doesn't grow up too much. Yukiko said dissatisfiedly, herself. This is being treated as a child who doesn't grow up. Have you come to look at it? Why don't you think I think you are young? Actually, I think you are young. That's why I said that. Chen looked at Yukiko's expression very seriously, which made Yukiko directly believe what Chen said equals like for Chen's words. Yukiko will never question it. What's more, what Chen said now is a compliment to her. Of course, Yukiko will not doubt it anymore. 3 inches it doesn't matter. Yukiko is young and beautiful. Yu said very proudly, making Ken Yingri who was next to him couldn't help but withdraw his mouth. Of course, it's not that Ki Youngri thinks Yukiko is not pretty anymore. Jian felt that Yukiko was acting too narcissistic. If you say beautiful, Yukiko is indeed very beautiful, but from Yukiko's own mouth, she feels a little unrestrained. That's why Fei Yingli will keep her mouth shut. Tilda, do you have a different opinion? Yukiko asked Fei Yingri with a stern face. Of course I do and have a different opinion without it. Do I dare to have another opinion? Knowing that you are jealous of me. Jealous of you? Why should I be jealous of you? Fei Yingli laughed angrily. Do you think I can't compare to you in terms of looks? Or do you think I can't compare to you in terms of stature? No matter what aspect, Fei Yingli is self-righteous and thinks that it is absolutely impossible for me to lose to Yukiko. In fact, it is indeed the case. In any respect, Fei Ying is no worse than Yuchizi. Really, then between me and Chen. Are you jealous? Yukiko leaned into Fei Yingli's ear and asked in a low voice to Fei Yingli. Kaingri gave Yukiko a blank look. Then he shook his head and said, I'm not jealous, why should I be jealous? Che, I just finished speaking. Eri's expression changed immediately. If you say you're not jealous, I really don't believe it. Yuki in the middle, I made it clear that I didn't believe it, and Lee didn't explain it. Because she really had no way to explain him in her heart. So you can just turn around and ignore Yukiko, let her say what she will and ignore her. Seeing Fei Yingri's performance, Yukiko couldn't help but smile. It seems that she won this time, in Yukiko's opinion. Fei Yingli's silence at this time is a guilty conscience. Chapter 11-19. The bet with Yukiko returned to the house. Belmont and the others looked at Fei Yingli, who was brought back by Chen, with a slightly strange expression. I went to pick up Yuchizi back, but when I came back with more eggs one by one. As for concubine Yingri, saw the women in the house. At this time, he couldn't help but glance at Chen, especially if he was looking at the scumbag's eyes. Chen said to ignore it, you can just watch it. I'm not missing anything anyway. You choose Yingri. A room. Chen said to Fei Yingri. There are quite a few rooms in the house. I'm not afraid of not having a place to live at all. After all, who made his home so great? I feel that if there are a few more people, they can live there. 3 Of course, Bi Chen just thought so in his heart. If 10 of them say it, I'm afraid Belmont and the others will pull him out and shoot him for 5 minutes. 9 inches choose the room next to me. Yukiko said to concubine Eri. No, I don't want to live too close to you. Fei Yingli ruthlessly rejected Yukiko. Eri, we are good friends anyway. I didn't expect you to treat me like this. I feel so uncomfortable in my heart. Yukiko said with an uncomfortable expression. Just at the time of the note, Xiaoi suddenly took Chen's hand and pulled the guide into a room. Xiao, what are you going to do? Could it be, put away your unhealthy mind? If you don't, I'll take you to test the medicine for you easy. Xiao Chen said with a blank look. How do you know that the thoughts in my mind are unhealthy thoughts? Do you have any evidence? Chen asked Xiao, does this kind of thing still need any evidence? Xiao said lightly, you have it all on your face. Any more evidence? Are you embarrassed? All right. With Shang Zichen's shameless character, he is really kind. Okay, let's not talk about this for the time being. Xiao, what's the matter with you pulling me over? Chen asked Xiao, ready to find out what happened to Xiao. I was thinking about Fei Yingli. Why did you bring back Shaolin's mother? Xiao asked Chen to bring Shaolin's mother home. What is this? The situation. Could it be Jing? Well, Ninebui doesn't want to guess now, mainly because I feel uncomfortable in my heart. Don't ask 2 inches. Chen lightly tapped Xiao's little head, and then walked out of the room. Is it okay if I ask? Xiao was very angry, feeling that gradually Chen really treated her as a child. After walking out of the room, Chen realized that he hadn't seen Fei Yingli, so he threw a suspicious light towards Yuchizi. In the kitchen, please ask Mingmei to teach her how to cook. Yuchizi understood what Chen meant and said to Chen. So, because of this, I actually went to learn cooking again. I admire it. Chen felt that if Fei Yingli persevered, I should be able to master the cooking skills of Shaolin and Mingmei. Cao Jing Fei Yingli has changed a lot now. By the way, Yuchizi, are you interested in studying together? Chen asked Yuchizi. I don't have this interest. I'm only interested in eating. As for cooking, that's fine. I'm not interested at all. Yukiko quickly waved her hand towards Chen. She really has no interest at all. Hey Odian, I know it will be like this. After all, Yuchizi, you are so lazy. You are definitely better than Jingsheng concubine Yingli in this regard. Chen nodded and said to Yukanzi. Che, don't waste your energy. I know you're provoking me, but it's useless. Yuchizi said to Chen proudly. Chen couldn't help but support his forehead. Yes, I know it's useless. This should be regarded as the mud that can't support the wall, right? Hey, Chen, are you talking bad about me in your heart? The sixth sense of ___ is very sensitive, and in Chen's heart, she is really thinking that Yuchizi can't support the wall, but Yuchizi can actually receive it. This point can only be said to be great. To tell the truth, he can also write clothes with this ability. Guess, have I spoken badly about you? Chen smiled and asked Yuchizi, guess. I don't have time to guess what. You don't say anything. Yuchizi rolled her eyes at Chen, feeling that today Chen I received a lot of Byakugan. It doesn't matter what else, do you have the ability to force me to say it? Chen said with a thick smile on his face. I'm still a widow and can force you to say it. If you don't believe it, how about we make a bet? Yukiko raised her head and said in the moonlight, really? I really want to know, do you have? I don't have that ability. Chen smiled flatly, and then said. Then let's wait and see. Anyway, I have an absolute solution. Yukiko had a confident look on her face. Rangchen was a little curious at this time, and didn't know why Yuchizi was so confident. I don't know why you have this confidence, but if you want to make a bet, then how do you play the singer? Chen asked Yuchizi. He didn't mind betting with Yuchizi. Well, what is the condition of the mutual agreement? If I lose, then I will promise you 1-by-1 conditions. On the contrary, if you lose, you must also promise me 1-by-1. Yukiko said to Chen after pinching her chin and thinking for a while. Okay, you wait and promise me a condition. Chen said with a smile. Che, who agrees to whom? A condition I don't know yet. Compared with Chenying, Yukiko's performance is also very self-confident, which really makes Chen unclear where Yukiko's self-confidence comes from. Obviously, there is no doubt that Shizi will definitely lose. After all, the mouth is on Chen's own body. If Chen is unwilling to say it, then Shizi is not diligent. Come to my room tonight, I will absolutely let you tell me everything. Yukiko said firmly. Suddenly Chen was stunned. Are you trying to use a beauty trick? Inexplicable. Chen has some expectations in his heart. what are you talking about? Xiao Ai came over, looked at Hu and Yuchizi, and felt that they were not talking about anything good. I had to say that Xiao Ai was there. The talent of the sixth sense is definitely very strong. Nothing to talk about. Of course Chen wouldn't tell Xiao Ai, and Yuchizi next to him would definitely not say anything to Xiao Ai. Seeing that neither of them said anything, Xiao Ai felt sullen in her heart, and Xiao Ai was already angry, but now she snorted. Then he sat on the sofa next to him, without even looking at Chen and Yukiko. Have you offended Xiao Ai? Yuchizi saw Xiao Ai's sullen appearance, and immediately poked Zhang's arm, and asked Chen. At a glance, she knew that Xiao Ai was not happy. It must have something to do with Chen. Chapter 11:20. Are you teasing me? Xiao Ai didn't talk to Chen because she was stuffy. She didn't pay any attention to Chen's words until she was eating. According to Chen's estimation, she should have a cold war with him for a few days. In the evening, Chen came to Yuchizi's room as promised, and Chen didn't remember the bet with Yuchizi. Early the next morning, Chen-sin came over and pushed Yukiko next to him, while Yuji rubbed his sleepy eyes, and then showed a puzzled and angry expression to Chen. Chen, why are you waking me up? Don't you know that lack of sleep is the enemy of women? 2. I slept very late last night. In the morning, Yuchizi naturally felt sleepy and couldn't open her eyes. Chen is very resentful. Don't we bet? I didn't tell you anything. So you lost, don't you want to admit it? Betting. When did you bet? Head back to sleep. Well, Chen knew that was the case, in fact, for the two of them. The so-called bet was just an unnecessary pretext, and Chen didn't expect Yukiko to fulfill anything. Let's just pay it all up last night. Chen couldn't sleep anyway, so just get up and walk out of the room. Just as Chen Gangwang walked out of the room, the door of the room next to him was also opened. Then concubine Yingri came out of the room and the two of them went out at the same time. Yesterday, Emi Eri seemed the same thing about living next to Yukiko on the surface. But in fact, there was nothing wrong in Yuchizi's heart. Chen, what a coincidence. Fei Yingli glanced at the room next to Shizi, and then she understood everything in an instant. She is a very famous legal woman, and some things can be seen at a glance. Coincidentally, how is it? How is Shu really in my house? Chen didn't feel the price when he was bumped into. With a smile, he asked Fei Yingri. It's not bad, I feel like Zhang can get used to it. It's no different from being in my house. Really, that's fine. If I don't entertain you well, I guess Shaolin won't let me go. Chen said with a smile. Since you said that, shouldn't you come to entertain me in person? Fei Yingli suddenly blinked at Chen, then turned to leave Chen with a beautiful back. Chen was stunned for a while, and then he came to his senses. Are you teasing me? And Guang stared at Fei Yingli's back. Chen was 100% sure that now Fei Yingli his face had turned Yuhi's color. It's a pity, I can't see Fei Yingli's face now. If I can see it, it will be very beautiful. Chen has a sad face, but he didn't run over to see Fei Yingli, otherwise Fei Yingli would definitely look at Yuhi. When a strong woman was also shy, he wouldn't run over to embarrass Fei Yingli at this time. Concubine Yingri's heart was thumping, and Yuhi's face was thumping. As if it were so. How did I say such daring words just now? Is this some kind of hint? What if she was taken seriously by Chen? Fei Yingli's eyes were full of confusion, something she had never experienced before. Usually Fei Yingli's eyes are basically very calm. As a barrister, how could it not be possible that Mount Tai collapsed in front of her without changing her face, but at this time, she couldn't do it at all. In the panic in her eyes, there was still a deep expectation, but soon the concubine Yingri Akira shaking his head, he quickened his pace and opened high. Too panicked, Chen couldn't help but said after seeing Shi Weili speed up his pace. The current concubine Yingli is indeed like this, her mentality is too flustered, and she feels guilty. In fact, there is absolutely no need to panic. Shaking his head slightly, then Chen didn't want to think so much anymore. Just as she was about to go to the kitchen to see if Mingmei had prepared breakfast, Chen's footsteps paused slightly when she passed by the door of Xiao Ai's room. 3 inches. Is there still a light on in the room? Chen walked past Ji and pushed open Xiao Ai's door, and then saw Xiaoshang, who was sleeping on a chair and lying on the table. Isn't it the Tatung Akatsuki who studied it? Chen glanced at the computer in front of Xiao Ai that had not been turned off, and thought it should be like, really, why is this girl fighting so hard? Chen hugged Xiao Ai, but just after picking her up, Xiao Ai woke up. What are you doing? Xiao Ai looked at Chen with a wary look. Could it be that Tsukuru wanted to take advantage of me to fall asleep? Want to sneak up on trash and do something shady? What a beast. 0. Begging Xiao Ai's vigilant moonlight to be replaced by contemptuous eyes. Listening to your poisonous words, I have an urge to hit you. What would you say if Belmod saw the scene of you being spanked? Chen asked Xiao Ai with a smile. For Xiao Ai, his words were like the whispers of the devil. See only wonder seeing this. This is absolutely impossible, even if she is beaten to death. You must not let Xanermo see her embarrassed side. HMPH. You dare, if you really dare, I will tell you, elder sister. Xiao Ai snorted coldly. On the surface, she was very settled, but Kilometer was very flustered. Because Xiao Ai knew that Chen really dared, so she was not so calm. Tell your sister, does it mean that Mei can help you? Chen couldn't help asking Xiao Ai. 3. Xiao Ai is silent, it seems that Ming Mei really can't help her. HMPH, let me go. Xiao Ai Tsunere snorted coldly, even though she felt comfortable when she was hugged by Chen. Pai Gai Xiao Ai Tsunere. Okay, I'll let you go and rest. When did you go to bed yesterday? Also, don't lie down and sleep here in the future, do you understand? Chen taught Xiao Ai a lesson. Although Xiao Ai showed an impatient look. But I was very moved, and it felt so good to be cared about. Come and call your cue. Chen touched Xiao Ai's head and said to Xiao Ai. Well, Xiao Ai Shui gave a light hum, and agreed. Are you not going to continue Tsunere? Chen Wei was a little surprised, originally thought that Xiao Ai would continue Tsunere, but he didn't expect to continue Tsunere. I want you to. Xiao Ai continued to Tsunere, covered her head with a quilt, and then didn't look at Chen at all. Chen shook her head slightly, then walked out of Xiao Ai's room. Closed the door gently for Xiao Ai. It was also Chen Yaikai's plan. Chen, why did you come to the kitchen? Ming Mei, who was preparing breakfast, had a surprised expression. No wonder Ming Mei was surprised. Because Chen usually doesn't enter the kitchen at all, and the number of times he enters the kitchen is almost a handful. The 1121st boy Kuroba Kato went to Yasaka Kudo. Can't I go into kitchen A? 1-inch Chen looked at Ming Mei and smiled, and then he looked at the breakfast that Ming Mei made. Ming hurts you, I have to prepare breakfast and dinner every day. Chen touched Ming Mei's sick bag and said, Love room. Ming Mei's stock color became Yuhi's, and then she headed towards Chen Qing. It's not hard work, there's no such thing as hard work. Although there are a lot of things prepared every day, Minggai doesn't feel hard at all, and Ming Mei also has a deep desire to repay Chen. If you didn't save me back then, I'm afraid there is no chance for hard work. Ming Mei's eyes fell into memories, thinking of the past. If it wasn't for Chen, Ming would have died under the gun of Jinju, so that she and her sister could still be 02 soil. Alive. Everything is with Qi Chen's help. On this point Min Cha will always remember. Chen, did you run into the kitchen to steal the food? Ming Mei put down the golden heads in her heart and asked Chen Ji with a smile. No, I definitely didn't come to steal food. Chen said he could swear. But having said that, seeing the fragrant steamed buns steamed by Ming Mei, Chen couldn't help but pick it up and eat one. I came to the kitchen to tell you that when making breakfast, remember to make more. After all, today is not the same, and now there are more concubine Yingli. Chen Xiangmei said. Eat while talking. Let Ming Mei couldn't help but give Chen a white look. He said, I just came to steal it, so what are you looking for? Hurry up and get out. Otherwise, no one else will have to eat it. Ming Mei pushed Chen out directly. But when it comes out. Fortunately, he left 2 buns with Chen. Chen touched his nose, then walked out of the kitchen, and was blasted out by Ming Mei, feeling a little embarrassed. Mei smiled slightly, then continued to prepare to make breakfast. Just at this moment, Kuroba Kuito came to the hospital and pushed the door of the ward where Yasaka Kudo lived. Does Kudo Yasaka live here? Kuroba Kazuhiro looked towards the hospital bed. But there was no one. Kudo Yasaka was obviously not there. Kuroba frowned and sat here waiting. According to the information he obtained through investigation, Kudo Yasaka was injured by Hyuga-chen. He lived here. This information will never go wrong. Now Kudo Yasaka and Kuroba Kuito want to ask for work to help Yasaka. He was busy, and Kuroba was wearing makeup without deliberately waiting for a dozen minutes. Director Yasaka Kudo came back in his hospital clothes, and Shi Tongshu followed Konan and Hattori Hirano. Axion Boshi was not here. Ah Jungbo went to rest at his house. But Konan and Hattori Heiji are here. 0 Konan is a son, and now that Shinyang has been released, he will naturally come to the hospital to see Yasaka Kudo's situation. 920 and GT, 7 and GT, actually, Yasaka Kudo, the injury is not particularly serious. It is estimated that it will not be long before he will be discharged from the hospital. Who are you? Novel writer. It's really here. Kuroba Kato smiled slightly after seeing Kudo Yasaka. He used his original face, but the appearance after disguise. Of course he didn't want to use his original face. I don't want to expose my original appearance, because it will be more troublesome for him. Mr. Shi, don't be vigilant. In fact, I just want to talk to you about something, and we also have a common enemy. Tu smiled lightly and said to Yasaka Kudo. He wanted to investigate the information about the future of the sun, and then found out that he and Yasaka Kudo had a sudden shock, and also sent Yasaka Kudo to the hospital. Kudo Saka too thinks that this should be good news for him. Maybe he can take advantage of it. Common enemy. I don't know the common enemy you are talking about. Who are you referring to? Kudo Yasaka asked Kuroba Kato. Ha Toko Kudo Yasaka, don't you know that, besides Hyuga-chen, can you have a lot of characters? Kuroba Kato said with a big laugh. Although he is a middle-aged man with a disguised appearance, however, Kuroba Kato can change his voice, and it's the kind that doesn't need a voice changer, let alone using a voice changer. That doesn't mean he can change his voice. You shouldn't be too old, right? Right. Kudo Yasaka looked wisely at Kuroba Kato, trying to deceive him, but it wasn't so easy for Kuroba to show his expression for a while, but he didn't expect to be able to see through Shi. It can be seen that he is from heaven's own disguising technology, very confident. I feel that basically no one can see through his disguise. But now facing Yasaka Kudo, he was seen through instantly. Kuroba Kuito was also a little shocked. But the surface is very calm. After being seen through, I plan to continue pretending. It doesn't really matter whether I have a disguise or not. What matters is our common enemy, Hyuga-chen. Kuroba Kuito said to Yasaka Kudo. Come out to communicate. Kudo Yasaka didn't wait for Kuroba to continue to say, why? Kuroba's brow wrinkled. He really came to cooperate with Kudo Yasaka, so now it can't open so fast. And Kuroba Kato didn't want Kudo Yasaka to reject him. Why? The reason is actually very simple. I don't know you at all. Do you think I will believe you? It's your words. Do you intend to communicate with someone you don't know at all? 20 Yasaka Kudo's remarks. It's like asking Kuroha Kuito to keep his mouth shut. But if he wants to let him show his true face, Kuroha Kuito doesn't mean it. He really doesn't want to reveal his identity. Kato Kuroba didn't use the identity of Kaito Kid, so he couldn't use it. Kaito Kid is a thief 2.6e__. In that case, then but I will not give up easily, and I will come again. Haimon Kuito doesn't plan to stay any longer. Now she finds that she is inconsiderate, and some rashly come to find Yasaka Kudo. Obviously it won't work. After returning to her husband first, the courageous way to contact Yasaka Kudo. If Kudo is the best, if this line really doesn't work, let's talk about it later. In fact, Kuroba Kato is very helpless at this time. He knows that he can't deal with Hyuga-chen, so he plans to find help. I still don't believe him. He really has no ill will towards Kudo Yasaka in his heart. After Kuroba's high rise, Kudo Yasaka glanced at Kurokai's back and didn't know who he was. But Kudo Yasaka, I feel like I have to get rid of it. The 1122nd child is still immature, Dad, do you want us to follow him? Conan looked at Kuroba Kato who was leaving, and felt that his first image was very familiar. It seems that I saw it somewhere, but I really want to. At the same time, Conan showed each other again. Now I don't know who he is and what his real purpose is, so don't stay behind. Yasaka Tionkudo shook his head at Conan. If he is not injured now, it's fine. Yasaka Kudo would consider following up to see his current situation, but he definitely won't be able to keep up. But what is certain is that the pair is Hyuga Chen's enemy, and it seems that there are quite a few Hyuga Chen's enemies. Fuji Yuji said. At this time, Hattori Heiji also hated Chen very much, so if Togo could see Chen shriveled, Hattori Heiji would definitely not mind. Don't talk so much, go back and rest first. Kudo Yasaka wants to send Conan and Hattori Heiji away in 04. After sending them away, he can mobilize the information that can be mobilized to investigate the person before. The information must be moved and the investigation must be fast. If it is late if you do, maybe you won't be able to investigate anything. Well then, Dad, stay here by yourself, and remember to notify us if something happens. Conan nodded and opened high with Hattori Heiji. Conan, why are you more open? I think my uncle is clearly trying to hide something from us. Hattori Heiji said to Conan that Yubuksan and Kudo Yasaka, who were more familiar with Hattori Heiji himself, would not figure it out. I know, but since Dad doesn't tell us about it, it means he doesn't want us to know. So it's useless for many people in Henan to count them, and then he said, Master, that's right, Shang doesn't necessarily tell us when you come out. Better not yell. Hattori Heiji was stunned for a moment, and finally nodded. But Conan, don't you want to know who the identity of that person was? Hattori Heiji asked Conan. Conan nodded slightly. How could he not want to know? But he won't go to his own father. Conan wants to rely on his own ability to solve 3 inches. Let's go and investigate that person. Hattori Heiji quickly left the hotel. How do you plan to investigate? Hattori Heiji asked Conan in confusion. What does Conan want to investigate? First try to get the surveillance video here, and then say it again. Conan smiled at Hattori Heiji, and then said, How are you going to get 9? Hattori Heiji looked at Conan depressedly. It's probably not easy. After all, the surveillance video in the hospital is not something that can be investigated casually. Only of course I have a solution. Conan took Heiji to the surveillance room and lied to the people inside that he had lost something and wanted to check the surveillance video. Hard bubbles. Finally agreed. It seems that after getting smaller, there are still some uses. Hattori Heiji couldn't help but say that indeed, Conan after getting smaller is still very convenient in some places. Such as gaining the trust of others. If it is Hattori Heiji himself, I am afraid that Tokudo will handle these people. As for Conan's words too, because he is a child, he can make trouble with 5 reasons. For Conan, this is the advantage of the old lady. I really have you are amazing. Hattori Heiji secretly gave Conan a thumbs up. Conan pulled Hattori Heiji. Then he said to Hattori Heiji. Hattori Heiji nodded. Then the two of them carefully checked the surveillance footage to look for suspicious things inside. 3 thank you and walked out of it. What's the use? Conan asked that Heiji. No, the other party has been open since entering the hospital. It's a disguise, and there is no flaw at all. Hattori Heiji shook his head. In fact, if it wasn't for Yasaka Kudo who said that the other party was after the disguise, Hattori Heiji couldn't see it. It can only be said that in the aspect of disguise, Kuroba Kuito has really reached the level of perfection, and Yasaka Kudo can only find out that Yasaka Kudo's observation ability is stronger. Although Kewe is the main fish. But in terms of ability, Conan is worse than Yasaka Kudo in terms of reasoning and observation. After all, most of Conan's knowledge was taught to him by Kudo Yasaka. Maybe after a few years, he may be able to compare with Kudo Yasaka when he matures, but now, compared to his father, Conan is still immature. Very. I also know that when I came here, I couldn't find anything, and I didn't have much hope. Conan can't talk about disappointment now, because he didn't have much hope in the first place, so how can we talk about Juexi? What are your plans now? are you giving up the investigation? Miyachi asked Conan. Of course, it is impossible to give up. In my heart, I have never given up on these two. Conan said to Hattori Heiji very seriously. This made Hattori Heiji smile. Only such Conan can be regarded as an opponent by him. Personally, I feel a little familiar. 500, Tien Conan fell into the back line and felt that the person was very familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen it. No, it's a bit of a headache, but I know it, you can recall it. Hattori Heiji looked at Conan. It would be great if Conan could find a clue. Also, the other party and Bishanshin have a grudge, but this is a more important message. We can take a look at Hattori's eyes this time from this aspect, and then said to Conan that he offended Hyuga the most, and Conan has also met people. If you arrange it like this, you will directly narrow the circle. It is easy to investigate. I am driving a car. I forgot such important information just now. It really shouldn't be, thanks to Hattori Heiji by the side reminder. Among the people I know who still have enemies with Hyuga-chen, it seems that you are the only one. Conan thought for a long time, and suddenly looked at Hattori Heiji. Think of Zhang Tian's Conan. Finally, I thought of a service island Wuji, if possible, include my father, Yasaka Kudo. Other people Conan really can't think of it. Only then did Conan find out. Most of the people I know around him seem to have a relationship with the day and night. Chen has a good relationship with that guy, and it's just that Shaolin is the pain in Conan's heart. Chapter 1123. I found that you have become too much. Damn, why is that guy's back so familiar? Conan was a little worried. After thinking about it for a long time, he still didn't think of where he had seen that track 9 inches. Don't embarrass yourself. Let's eat first. Since he has disguised himself, it means that he does not want to be investigated. It is not easy. Hattori Heiji looked at Conan walking around and said. The irritability in the eyes are a bit annoying. Why don't you ask your father? I think your father should have connections. Hattori Harabe said to Conan. Actually, Conan, it's not important for you to think about it now. Since he came to you once, Shuin has another one, and next time you seize the opportunity to try it out, it's okay if you don't. Dr. Ali opened his mouth and said to Conan and the others. Suddenly Conan was stunned. Yes, the other party here did not achieve the goal, so there will definitely be another and GT. Next time, just wait for the next meeting. But in this way, I feel really too passive, there is a kind of uncomfortable feeling. Conan feels a little unchanged. There is no way, I don't know who the other party is. I can only be passive like this. Maybe the other party is more anxious than us. Heiji Hattori is very calm. Conan, I found that you have become too much. Hattori Heiji's expression became serious at this time, and he said to Conan. I have changed too much, where have I changed? Conan frowned, and then asked Hattori Heiji. Don't you think you have changed now? Too impatient. You weren't like that in the old days. Heiji Hattori said. It has long been found that Conan has changed. The change in character. Maybe Conan himself can't feel it, but Heiji Hattori has long felt it. Maybe. Conan also found that he became restless after Hattori Hirai's reminder. For a detective, this is actually deadly. As a qualified detective, the most important thing is to stabilize your heart. If you can't keep calm, how to find the prisoner to Conan's expression is complicated. I don't even know how I became like this. Hattori Heiji sighed. In fact, he probably understood why Conan became like this. It should be related to Hyuga-chen, but Hattori Hei hadn't mentioned it yet, and he didn't know if Conan would feel uncomfortable after mentioning Hyuga Gudo. After all, both Qingmu and Ma were robbed of their relatives. Thought here. A look of determination appeared on Hattori's face. Hyuga-chen, I will never let you take Kazuha away. What are you thinking? Conan saw Hattori Heiji 24 who was in a daze and couldn't stop pushing it. Hattori Heiji. Ming didn't think about anything. Hattori Heiji shook his head towards Kazuo. I know. Hattori is hiding something from him. But Conan didn't ask, as if he had something on his mind. Ichiraku, everyone has something on their mind. Better not to ask. Are you still going to continue the investigation? Hattori asked Conan. Of course, we must not give up until we investigate. Conan said very seriously. Before the identity of that person is investigated, Conan can't give up, which is also the belief in Conan's heart. Okay, I'll help you, but since he's dealing with Hyuga-chen, maybe you can draw Hattori Heiji over to look at Conan and say, in fact, in his heart, Hattori Heiji doesn't mind cooperating with the other party. But the premise is that the other party must not be anything bad people will do. If the other party is not a good person, then Hattori Heiji will definitely not want to cooperate with the other party. Let's take a look first. Who knows who the other party is? I'm afraid it is someone from the Moi organization. Conan has some doubts in his heart. Yanjia is not right. Moreover, isn't Hyuga-chen related to the Hai organization? That's just our guess. No one knows whether Hyuga-chen has anything to do with the Hai organization. Nan shook his head at Hattori Heiji. Thanks so much. Let's eat first. How about the food made by Dr. Agsa? Conan and Hattori Heiji came to the table, but after seeing the food prepared by Hiroshi Akasa, the two of them were speechless. Akasa Hiroshi, so you don't know how to cook? These dishes are made of coke. I'm afraid we'll go to the hospital if we eat it. Conan looked at the incomparably dark things on Muzzy, and couldn't help but said, She scratched his head a little embarrassedly, and then said embarrassedly, I haven't cooked before, so I don't care. It can only be done like this. Okay, Dr. Akasa is already good at cooking. Don't be picky, Hattori Heiji said to Conan. If that's the case, then come and eat. How about you try it? Conan pouted, said to Hattori Heiji. Hattori Heiji's expression froze, and he definitely couldn't eat it. If he ate it, I'm afraid he would be sent directly to the hospital. 9 inches, this is better, I haven't thought about the sea that much, I am sorry Akasa Hiroten. Hattori Heiji said apologetically to Akasa Hiroto. It's not that I don't want to eat it, it's something made by Agasa. Really can't eat it. It's better to eat instant noodles after pouring it out. I have never cooked. Dr. Lee shook his head and said. I'm not sad, but Dr. A. Lee still knows what the food he cooks looks like. Mainly because it's too bad. Looks like I'm going to eat instant noodles again today. It's uncomfortable, Chuan Minan said gloomily. In Dr. A. Lee's house, he basically eats instant noodles every day to relieve himself. Someone is cooking. Dr. Axion is doing it now. This time, let Conan and the others know that he is very good, and it is estimated that he will never let Akasa Hiroshi do it again in the future. It's better for me to do it. At least the food is edible, Hattori Heiji said in a low voice. But Hattori Heiji didn't use too much vocalization. In order not to be heard by a Libo Plus, and then think that he is mocking him. Don't talk too much, hurry up and prepare. I'm going to starve to death. Conan took out the instant noodles, and the baby was distributed to Hattori Heiji. I think I'm really suffering here, at night. I absolutely have to go out to eat. Hattori Heiji felt that he had lost weight. He was already thinner, but now he looks even thinner. I guess if my mother knew about it, I am afraid she would let him go back immediately. Okay, treat me by the way, Conan said to Hattori Jonge. Now Conan doesn't have any brocade in his hand, so he's embarrassed to ask Kudo Yasaka. So he can only rely on Hattori Hirai to treat him. Oh. Chapter 11:24. If someone rumored that it would be better on the other side, Kuroba Kato frowned, trying to convince Kudo Yasaka. Let's deal with Hyuga-chen together, but Yasaka Ito didn't give him a chance to deal at all. If Yasaka Mimoto can't be here, then we'll have to find you 3 inches. Kuroba Kuito imagined in his mind someone who could threaten that guy Hyuga Tatsu, but he couldn't find him at all. Would you like to sneak in? Take a look at Hyuga-chen's house. Kuroba Kuito looked in the direction of Chen's house from a distance. You can see where Tatsuya's house is from where Kuroba Kuito is staying. Looking over there, I don't know why, the feeling in my heart is that it is a bottomless pit, if you really want to explore it. Never get up. 3 This will not work, it is too dangerous. If Hyuga Yuanpan catches a ghost, he knows what method he will use to seal himself up. So we still have to talk about it from a long time. Kuroba Kuito felt that he needed to take a long-term plan. As for how to plan, Kuroba Kuito couldn't find a target for the time being. Get ready to talk next. I still have to win over Kudo Yusaka. It's better to use that kid from Edogawa Konan as a condition. Kuroba thought while pinching his chin. Because I also had contact with Konan and knew about Konan. It is not as simple as an ordinary child. 503. And seeing that child appearing next to Yusaka Kudo today shows that he is very important to Yusaka Kudo. Who does that kid Konan think? In short, it is absolutely impossible to be an ordinary elementary school student. Let me see what secrets he is hiding. Kuroba Kato turned around and was not ready to investigate Chen, mainly to investigate there was no result, so Kuroba was ready to investigate Konan this kid. After investigating the little devil Konan, and then see if you can rely on him. To win over the mystery novel master Kudo Yusaka. 3. Kudo thinks that Kudo Yusaka's ability is very strong, mainly because he has read some novels written by Kudo Yusaka. Through these novels, users can basically understand the strength of Kudo Yusaka, if there are not a few brushes. There is absolutely no way to write such a good novel. What Konan didn't know was, when they were trying to find out the identity of Kuroba Kato. Kuroba Kato also put Kazuki on Konan's body. However, these are not related to Chen. Although they want to trouble Chen, Chen doesn't care. If you really dare to make trouble, then, Chen Yi will definitely not be polite. If you take it lightly, you will be sent to the hospital, and if you are serious, you will be sent to hell. Just so violent. Going to school at this time, because today is just the start of school, and it is very boring in love, it is better to be interesting on one side of the school examination. It's so early today, it's not easy to meet you at the school gate. Yuanzi looked at Chen and said in surprise. Yuanzi, didn't you say you should ignore me? Didn't you talk to me? Why did you take the initiative to come over to talk to me now? Chen asked with a light smile. Yuanzi's face was slightly yuhi, when Feng Qian went to Yuanzi to invite Chen, and asked Chen to go to her house to find her, but unfortunately Chen refused. Just kidding. It's just a happy life at home, of course Chen won't be looking for a garden. So this makes the garden very negative. The angry Sonoko said, I will ignore you in the future. Unexpectedly, this is just the beginning of school, and the scene of Junxiang will be staged. It really is the law of Junxiang that cannot be escaped. Have I said it before? Sonoko pretended to be stupid, saying that he didn't remember what he said at all. You're still pretending to be stupid. You look a little cute when you're pretending to be stupid. Chen Ningkai squeezed Yuanzi's nose and said with a smile. 5. Chen pinched his nose. The garden seemed very dissatisfied on the surface. But in fact, I am very satisfied with such a scene of interaction with Chen. It made the garden feel very comfortable, and the name of the tomb felt very comfortable. I even really want to go one step further with Hecken. However, there were Shaolin, He and the others in front of him, and Yuhiko who was standing beside Chen, so Sonoko could only wave his hand and give up the idea. After all, Yuanzi is very ladylike. However, she was very shy in her heart. Chen, last time I was on vacation. Would you like to go to my house to play? Sonoko sent an invitation to Chen again and wanted to invite Chen over to play. That's a question. Let's talk about it next time I'm on vacation. I'll think about it first. Chen didn't agree to Sonoko. What, shouldn't you agree to the big beauty's invitation right away? Sonoko asked Chen in an unhappy manner. But I don't want to promise you at all. So I can only apologize. Chen spread his hands and said to Yuanzi. Didn't you just refuse? So think about it again. Don't refuse 2 inches, Yuanzi said to Chen, telling Chen not to shoot first. Okay, let's talk about it later. Chen asked that the current garden is really very confident. Mainly because after putting down the bangs now, the garden looks really beautiful, very good looking and very good looking. This made Yuan Song become more confident. Standing by Xiaolan's side, all 9 sons were confident that they would not lose to Xiaolan. Let's go first, to chat at the door, and all the famous classmates came over. Xiaolan speak up. Seeing some of the classmates, 4 looked at them with extremely ambiguous eyes. Xiaolan felt very shy. What are you afraid of? Sonoko shrugged. She doesn't care at all. She doesn't care about spreading rumors. It's even better to spread rumors. It would be better if someone rumored. Especially the rumors about her and Chen. The garden couldn't wait to show up. 2 inches by the way, I heard that Mr. Judy lives with you now, and Duo Yuanzi suddenly asked Chen. No, where did you come from? This rude 9 inches. Chen is very surprised to see the crime factor. Where did Sonoko know about it? This matter should be considered a relatively secret thing, and not many people know it. At this time, who is Sonoko? How did you know? Chen thought it was incredible. Hee, of course I have my own channels. Sonoko smiled and said, as expected of it. First 8 trigrams king. Chen looked at Sonoko with admiration. On this point, Chen originally meant to call Sonoko the strongest. I really admire Sonoko. 8 trigrams in this regard. You know all about it. You know that Chen is not tempted at all. It has been revealed, and Judy will definitely not reveal it, and I don't know how Sonoko knows. Now Chen really wants to know, where did Sonoko get the information? Does she secretly keep Q's information 8 trigrams squad? Chapter 1125. The persevering Yuanzi, with a grumpy face and a very dissatisfied expression. You actually called me the king of hexagrams and ignored you. No, according to Sonoko's understanding of Chen, if she doesn't care about Chen, it is estimated that Chen will not care about her, and Nianyi will definitely not. Yuanzi, have you really risen? Shaolin looked at the garden owner worriedly and asked Yuanzi. I'm relieved. Actually, I'm not angry. Sonoko smiled at Shaolin, and then said. By the way, Chen, may I ask why Mr. Judy hasn't come to class recently? Why did she ask for leave? Sonoko asked Chen on the 8 trigrams question. You are really good 8 trigrams, but since you asked yes, I'll answer equals I'll get you. Chen rubbed Yuantian's little head, and then said. Because Mr. Butty has something to do, so I didn't come to the class. Now Tilda, are you aware of it? Bu Yuanzi looked at Chen in amazement, and after being stunned for a long time, asked Chen. It's over like this, 1. Yeah, that's right. It's over like this, otherwise, what else do you want me to say? Chen Wei spread his hands and said, don't talk about this, hurry in and go in. If you don't go in again, the class will start. At that time, you will be punished for standing. Chen didn't wait for the garden to say anything, then walked towards the classroom, shadowing the garden for a long time. After being pulled by Shaolin after the king, he came back to his senses and said, no, now it's like saying nothing. Sonoko couldn't help but say that she didn't say anything. She didn't say everything she wanted to know. Anyway, you can tell me something, Mr. Judy, don't you mean you didn't tell me anything? Quote. Sonoko Bingshe murmured 29 inches. Sonoko, you are 8 trigrams. And this is Master Zhu Sheng's private matter, so don't ask about it. Lan said to the garden very helplessly. No, I definitely want to know. Sonoko made up her mind. She has to figure it out, otherwise, she will not be able to sleep. It is because of her persistence that she has become the king of 8 trigrams who is the most well-informed. Shaolan, after school at night, let's go to Chen's house with Chen, what do you think? Sonoko asked Shaolin. Let's talk about it first, even if you don't go, I will definitely go. Yuanzi said to Shaolin in advance, okay. Then I'll go with you too. After thinking about it, Shaolin nodded towards the garden and said. It's also very 8 trigrams, right? Sonoko smiled at Shaolin, and then asked Shaolin. No, I'm completely different from you. Shaolan directly denied Yuanzi. She is not as 8 trigrams as Yuanzi, at most she is just a little curious. In fact, the world is very strange. Why does Mr. Judy live in the house of trans? Does it matter? Sonoko doubted in his heart. Sonoko, don't talk nonsense because Chen and Mr. Judy have a good relationship. You know, Mr. Judy is not a native of China, and she doesn't have any friends here. Shaolin said to Yuanzi. Really? Shaolin, do you really think so in your heart? Yuanzi looked at Shaolin, as if she had seen Shaolin through. Of course it is. Shaolan's voice was a little lower at this time, as if she had a guilty conscience. Hee. I don't think Xiaolan has this idea in your heart. Xiaolan gestured and raised her hand, while Yuanzi saw Wulan raised her hand and ran away immediately. Xiaolan, are you planning to go to Chen's house with Yuanzi? He asked Xiaolan. Well, and my mother also lives at Chen's house now, so I also went to see my mother. Xiaolan nodded towards He and said. Ah, Aunt Fei Yingli is actually in Chen's house. He's face showed a look of surprise. See, yes, my mother went to Chen's house, because my mother wanted to take a break, and there was still a lot in Chen's house. Aunt Yuxiu, you can chat. Xiaolan, it's fortunate that Auntie Yuchizi is not here. Otherwise, you would be miserable, calling him Auntie. He smiled bloodily and said to Xiaolan. Xiaolan's expression changed slightly, and then she said to Hai, don't say OL and you called it just now. Okay, now Xiaolan, you will be threatened. Come over 0G, ask for flowers. __. Don't make trouble, it's going to be classes written. Let's hurry up and gather in the classroom, I don't want to be punished. Xiaolan and Yi came after a while in classrooms. When they came to the classroom, they saw Yuanzi sitting next to Chen, and Yuanzi was still persevering in asking Chen's questions. Chen, just tell me. What's wrong with Mr. Judy's leave? Satisfy equals I'm curious. Yuanzi, it's not good if you are too curious. Don't be so curious. Chen didn't say anything to Yuanzi. Even if there are really some things that can be said, Chen is not willing to tell Yuanzi. The Lord is the woman who is not very strict. A lot of things have been said directly. 0_. Okay, then it seems that I can only rely on my own way. Sonoko sighed, without any intention of giving up. What do you want to do? Yuhiko asked Guozi curiously. I don't know how Yuanzi wants to be late. Chen, you shouldn't mind if I go to your house. Yuanzi asked Chen. I don't mind this, if you want to go. You can go there at any time, even if you want to. If you stay at my house, there will be no problem. Chen smiled at Sonoko and said. Yuanzi's heart moved, and I have to say Yuanzi's heart was really moved at this time. How about moving into Chen's house? But Chen Lijia's parents will definitely not agree, so they can only do it. Then Chen, you have already agreed and you can't go back. Whoever answers will be a puppy. Sonoko said to Chen, okay, if anyone backs out, then whoever is a puppy. Chen nodded towards Sonoko. In fact, Chen is also a little funny. I didn't expect Sonoko to have such a cute side. Yes, in Chen's eyes, Sonoko is a little cute. It's already in class. Sonoko, are you sure you want to continue sitting here? Chen asked Sonoko just as Chen had just said that. The bell for class suddenly rang, and Sonoko immediately stood up. In order to avoid being punished, Sonoko quickly ran to his place and sat down obediently. Chapter 11:26. Really came after school in the evening. Chen just walked out of the school gate, and then was stopped. Wait a minute, Chen, wait a second. Yuanzi's voice came from behind Chen, and Chen couldn't help but look back, only to see Yuanzi holding Xiaolan Q with one hand and He with the other. He was running over quickly. What's the matter with Sonoko? Do you want to keep asking? Chen didn't expect Sonoko to be so persevering. I didn't tell you that I told you before. Wouldn't you be unwelcome if you want to visit your house? Sonoko winked mischievously at Chen. Cute. Well, I thought you were just talking. I didn't expect you to be serious and really want to follow me back. 3 Chen microcheck spread out his hands. Then he said, since you want to go, 2 that's not impossible, but you have to follow, 080, to me to pick it up, Xiaogong. Chen still hasn't forgotten to plug it in. Bujing, if you really forget about this, it is estimated that Xiao Ai will ignore him for a long time. Okay, we will follow you to pick up Xiao Ai. Sonoko nodded and agreed. Then you shouldn't be in a hurry to go back. If you are in a hurry to go back, don't worry, I have already called my family. Even if I live with you today, it will be fine. Yuanzi Wujun waited for Chen to finish, and then he said to Chen, and now he has learned to answer. We have no problem. Xiaolan gently laughed towards Chen. She said sternly. Xiaolan greeted her father, Mori Kogoro. The reason was to go to her mother Yukiko. Of course, Mori Kogoro didn't say anything. Now ye and ye are quite free. You can do whatever you want to be an official, and there is no restriction at all. When you come to Deaton Elementary School, it is not far from Deaton High School. Just a few steps, you can come here Deaton Elementary School. When Xiao Ai was in the aisle here, when she saw so many people walking by, Xiao Ai was slightly stunned, but she could clearly see who was walking by, and Xiao Ai glanced at Chen Bai. Cough cough. Ai is gone, we are going home. Wu Yu looked at Xiao Ai who was turning over by Akugan, coughed twice, then walked over and pulled Xiao Ai's hand. Xiao Ai snorted lightly, used Kai Chen's hand, and walked in front, not at all. No worries. Chen is a little depressed, and some is bitter and hated, and it seems that he has offended Xiao Ai again. According to Chen's own opinion, Xiao Ai should be jealous. Are you jealous, Xiao Ai? Chen asked Xiao Ai 2 inches why do I want to eat Kuda? Xiao Ai retorted, but with a blank face, although she didn't show anything, she brought her out to the storm. Okay, Xiao Ai, you don't have any. Jealous. Okay, it's a bit too much to not spare even children. Sonoko couldn't help but said. Sonoko, shut up for me, be careful I'll take care of you. Chen said to Yuanzi with a gesture of fist fruit. Yuanzi shrank his brain, and then said to Chen unconvinced, oh, come, I want to see, you want Jahe to clean up me. Hee, Sonoko, do you really want to try it? If you really want to try it, I don't mind at all. Chen hee sneered at Sonoko, which made Sonoko really frightened, so let's forget about it. There is no need to compete with Chen. Cut, I won't compete with you now. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's not that you don't want to compete with me, but that even if you want to compete with me, you will definitely not be able to compete with me. Each said with a smile. Please Chen, do you think this is very successful? Yuhiko asked Chen. All right. As if it was a soul-like question, he directly stopped Chen. It seemed that there was indeed no sense of accomplishment. By the way, before going back, I have to call Mingmei first. Chen suddenly remembered, and took out his mobile phone. What are you calling Mingmei for? Yuhiko asked Chen in confusion. Gee, of course Mingmei has prepared more meals. Otherwise, what will you eat then? Chen opened his mouth and said to Yuhiko. He and Mingmei carried the phone and talked, and then Chen and the others returned home after not long. Garden, they are not. The first time I came to Chen's house, so I wasn't so restrained. Aunt Fei Yingli, why are you here? Sonoko looked at Fei Yingli standing here in astonishment with a look of surprise. How could Sonoko not know Shaolin's mother, but now I see Shaolin's mother here. Yuanzi's heart couldn't help but wonder 0_m____, because my mother gave me a holiday, I came here to stay for a few days. I didn't tell you about it before. Shaolin said to Yuanzi X, before, you really didn't tell me about this. Sonoko said before, I really didn't know. Xiaolan, where are you coming here? Fei Yingli also asked Xiaolan curiously. Could it be? Fei Yingli had some guesses in her heart, but she didn't say it, because Fei Yingli was afraid that after she said it, it would make Xiaolan even more shy. So she didn't say it. All right, Fei Yingli must be thinking in her heart, but fortunately Sister Yingli didn't say it, if Fei Yingli said it. I don't know how shy Xiaolan will be. Teacher Didi, are you here too? Yuanzi looked at Judy with a surprised look. Obviously, this was fake. After all, Sonoko knew that Judy was here. Judy nodded. At this point Judy didn't know how to explain why she was here too. Just kneeling and not explaining. As for whether Sonoko will be able to do something, Judy said that she cares about this at all. Seeing Mr. Judy nodding her head indifferently, and then not talking, Sonoko's heart was very curious. L's curious face was a little itchy. Well, Mr. Judy, why are you here? Sonoko turned to Judy. D asked. This is also the main purpose of Sonoko. Is this because the teacher has some personal affairs, it's inconvenient to share with Sonoko? Zeddy didn't mean to say it. Bixie is really a private matter after all. Private business. Teacher T is actually here. It seems that the relationship with Chen is not normal. Sonoko said tentatively. That's right. Sonoko, My relationship with Chen is indeed very good. And it's not normal. Judy gestured towards Sonoko with a hint of light. Sonoko's eyes widened. Was it the same as she had guessed before? 3. Then Guoan took another look at Chen. 9. Second hand chapter 127. Yi, you are slandering. Stop staring at me. What are you staring at me for? Is it because I have flowers on my face? Or is it because I am too handsome? Shang Yuanzi. However, this is not a narcissism, because he is like that, and this is a fact. Don't you explain what Mr. Judy said just now? Sonoko asked Chen. What did Judy say? You said that the relationship between you is not normal. Wouldn't you tell me how the relationship is not normal? Sonoko gave an expression of a story between the two of you. However, Sonoko thought too much. The relationship between him and Judy was really not what Sonoko thought. Gee, Sonoko, I can only tell you now, you think too much. I see. Chen raised his hand and knocked on Sonoko's forehead. Unconvinced, Hai Yuanzi touched his forehead, and then asked Chen, could it be that you dare to do it or not? Don't dare to be a ghost. I haven't done anything yet. What do you think I did? Chen said angrily to Sonoko. Oh, I see, it's not too late. I said garden. Don't you think about me in a good direction? Is my image so unbearable in your little life? Chen looked at the garden with a bit of depression, and felt that his usual behavior was fair enough. Why the image is suddenly so bad here in Kain? Chen, you're too embarrassed to say it. Sonoko Kisako glanced around, and then cast a contemptuous look at Chen. Well, Chen is still very clear about the meaning of Sonoko and the light. The meaning is nothing more than a lot of women and scum. Hey, I suddenly feel myself. It's really hard. Chen Tan spread his hands and said innocently. Chen, did you learn to come to my house to play? Sonoko poked Chen with his finger, and then threw a graceful look at Chen. Sonoko's performance is obvious to the world. This is no longer a hint. Express. Well, if Sonoko really wants to invite me, of course I won't refuse. After all, I really don't want to refuse a beautiful woman's request. It seems that you admit that I am a beautiful woman. Sonoko's there was pride in his eyes. Of course I admit it. After all, Yuanzi, you are a good beauty today. I was playing with you before. In fact, Yuanzi, you are very beautiful. 3. As for Pai's seemingly intimate behavior, there is no rejection in Sonoko, and she is even looking forward to Chen's actions. Reserved equals don't look very expectant. Chen chuckled towards Sonoko. Am I not enough to release my sperm? Sonoko looked at Chen anxiously, as if he was afraid of leaving a bad impression on Chen. People who don't know think we have done something bad. Chen walked over, took Daozi's hand, and walked outside. I wish others would think like this. Sonoko said in a low voice. When he said this, Sonoko's heart was hurt, and he didn't even dare to raise his voice. But how sharp is Chen's hearing? Even Sonoko whispered. The words he said still couldn't escape Chen's ears. Sonoko, I can't hear you whispering just now. Chen smiled and said to Sonoko, Ah, what did I say? Sonoko immediately threw off his hands, and then hurriedly ran outside, with his face already full turned into a yuhi color. I didn't expect Sonoko to be so shy, hee. Chen hee chuckled. Sonoko usually doesn't hurt like this. Could it be Chen bullying you? Hee looked at Sonoko's face, yuhi, and ran out of Chen's room shyly. He couldn't help but said to Yuan, don't talk nonsense with Yi Xing, you are still contemptuous. Chen Gang heard what Hee said. He said to Hee angrily, Che, when did I warm Lumi? I think it's like this, it must be you who cheered Yuanzi. Hee cut lightly, and then looked at Chen with the eyes that I had already seduced you. It doesn't work if you train. Chen sighed, and then slowly walked towards Hee. What are you going to do? Don't go back and forth. After Hee took a few steps back, he stared at Chen with extreme vigilance. Why do you know that you are afraid now? Chen smiled and looked at the scared Hita. Hey, you think too much. I'm not afraid of you, I can hit the wound and fly out. Hee Mian raised his head proudly and said to Chen. It's very important to experience the power of your fist. Chen said and approached Hee, as if he really wanted to experience it. Don't come here. He was scared when he saw that Chen was really coming. He quickly hid behind Shaolin. Vigilant luxury Chen. When did the staff get so timid? I'm just frightening you twice. It doesn't really do anything to you. Chen looked at He looking at him in horror. After withdrawing his pouting, he said, Che, who will believe what you say? Who knows if what you say is true or not? I'd better be on guard. He cut to 623 sounds gently. 1. Tisk tisk, I'm being treated as a bad guy, and suddenly Wei feels a little sad. Chen said with a slight sway. I glanced at Chen, and then told the truth for 10 days, which made him nod his head in agreement. That's right. What Xiao said just now is right. He really wants to give Xiaoyao something directly. 100% for the same. Well, just treat me as a bad guy. Chen shrugged, then sat on the dining table. It will be late after dinner. So don't leave, stay here to rest equals night. Chen opened his mouth and said to them. As long as you don't have bad intentions. He looked at Chen vigilantly and said. Since Lila is so vigilant about me, why don't you leave by yourself? What do you think of He? Chen asked He with a smile on his face. It's still a matter of blowing style, and Yi Wenyan shook his head slightly. After all, if you leave Chen's house, you and Yi don't know where to go. Teacher DD. Sonoko deliberately sat beside Mr. Zeddy and looked at Mrs. Judy. So what's the matter with you? Judy smiled and looked at Sonoko, but her expression became slightly cautious. Question. If true, Judy really can't answer her contract when inquiring. Chapter 11:28. What does it have to do with me? Mr. Judy, why didn't you go to school to teach us recently? As students, we still care about you, Mr. Judy. Sonoko asked Judy. Every word is not false. The students in the class are really concerned about the fact that teacher Judy did not come to class. Thank you for your concern, but I have something. It's not convenient for me to reveal what it is. Judy didn't want to reveal it, so she didn't say it when she saw it. Sonoko asked embarrassedly. When facing Chen, Sonoko can come to ask Chen, but when facing Judy, Sonoko is embarrassed to ask the reason why. He is still not familiar with the relationship, so Sonoko will not ask his relatives these questions. But Yuanzi is really curious in his heart, just like a cat scratching. If he doesn't satisfy his curiosity, it is estimated that Yuanzi can stop my shrimp. As for satisfying curiosity, you can only go to Chen to satisfy curiosity. The key is that she should be able to let Chen tell her. Anyway, according to Yuanzi's guess, Chen must know the reason why teacher Judy didn't go to school. It seems that if nothing else, Chen will be haunted by the garden in the future, and it is still the kind of haunting. Chen, where do we live? Yuanzi asked Chen. The guest room upstairs. Look at my manner. How can it be impossible, so you don't need to worry about this issue. Chen, he said to the garden with a light smile. Then Chen brought Sonoko and the others upstairs, entered the room, and showed them the room they were staying in next. There is everything in the room, nothing is missing, and there is absolutely no problem in staying one night. Although no one has lived in it for a long time, the real Akemi cleans the room regularly. The room was tidy and clean. Wang Heng is so good in the room. Shaolin looked at the interior of the room and originally thought that Shaolin wanted to clean the room. Now that the room is so clean, there is no need to clean it at all. How about it? In fact, it is good that you have been living here in the future, and I am closer to the school. Chen said. Of course, Chen's words were actually addressed to Shaolin. Chen really wanted Shaolin to live here. After all, he and Shaolin already had a relationship. Shan, Che, we are living here. Could it be that we want to do something that is unacceptable, so we won't wait for it? He made a light cut. 30, don't think too much about yourself. In fact, what I want to ask is Shaolin. As for whether you will agree or not, sorry, it has little to do with me. Chen looked at Hai with a look of disgust, and immediately made Hai unhappy. 14 Do you think I'm not beautiful enough? He too asked to Chen. I didn't say you weren't beautiful, and I didn't mean that you were worse than Shaolin, but does this have anything to do with me? It doesn't matter. After all, he knew the relationship between Dian and Shaolin. is already that kind of relationship, she is naturally not. Damn. Chi glared at Chen, and those who didn't know it might think that Chen bullied Hee. Don't do this. People who don't know may mistake me for bullying you. Chen said to Hee. Isn't it? I think you are bullying me. Hee rushed to the clan and said angrily. Wan, cough. Men and women don't marry each other. If you are a little too much, you will be seen by others. But you will be misunderstood. Chen lightly coughed, and then reminded Hee. Hee's face turned slightly Yuhi, and then he immediately covered his face to hide the shyness in his heart. Don't misunderstand me. After Hee let go of Chen, he said to Chen. 3. She doesn't want to be misunderstood by Chen's affection for him, although Hee does have a little affection for Chen in his heart, but this kind of affection, as a party, Hee may not feel it, but outsiders can see it. How about Shaolin? What do you think of my proposal? Chen asked Shaolin. I'm sorry Chen, although I want to live here too, but I don't seem to be able to. Shaolin said apologetically to Chen, it's not that she doesn't want to. In fact, there is still a father in the 3 families, and Shaolin can't help but take the bricks, so she can only refuse. Well, this makes me a little disappointed. Chen's eyes really showed a touch of disappointment. If possible, Chen really hopes that Shaolin will live here, so that it will be more convenient to meet Shaolin. And it's much more convenient. But in the future, maybe Shaolin will change her mind. Chen believes that that day will come. And this day will definitely not be too far away, and Chen's psychological side is also looking forward to it. Tilda, I want to live with you, can you? 16 Yuanzi looked at Chen and asked in anticipation. Shaolin heard the words and asked Yuanzi in astonishment, are you serious? Shaolin turned to Yuanzi asked, do you really plan to live here? Of course I am serious, it depends on whether Chen Huan is welcome or not, I hope Chen can welcome me. Sonoko raised her head and looked at Chen, her eyes filled with anticipation. I hope that Chen can welcome her and let her stay here. I don't have any opinion, but I'm afraid you have to tell your parents about this. Ji Chen spread his hands towards Yuanzi. Of course, this Chen has no opinion in his heart that Yuanzi wants to live here. Chen can't ask for it. I'm afraid it will be difficult. Sonoko's face showed a look of depression. If you want to convince your parents, it will be a bit difficult. But even if it is difficult, Sonoko, who is good, wants to try it. How can you do it if you don't try it? What? When I get home, let's take a break. Try to convince my parents. Sonoko can only say so. I think it is difficult for you. He said to Yuanzi. According to Hai's estimation, Yuanzi's parents would not agree with Guangtian. That's not necessarily, it's not that I have no certainty in my heart. As long as I get my mother on it. Sonoko said with his fist clenched. Don't worry about his father. As long as he gets his mother Tomoko Suzuki, there will be absolutely no problem, but this is really a bit difficult. Sonoko is still in awe of his mother. Maybe it will be possible then. Let my sister do me a favor and maybe I can convince my mother. Sonoko thought to herself. She wants to ask her sister, Ling Buzzy, to do her a favor, and Sonoko believes in her sister. She will never refuse to help. Chapter 1129. Conan the Guinea Pig, I didn't expect you to like watching football games. Chen glanced at the TV. Watching the game was playing on the TV, he couldn't help but say, of course. I'm very interested in this. Yukiko Q small head. By the way, Chen, don't you want to see it again? Yuchizi invited Chen, patted the sofa beside her, and then asked Chen. No, I'm not interested in this, and I don't have time. I'll be going to school in a while. Who is as sleepy as you? Chen shook his head. Why do you think I'm too busy? Showing a very dissatisfied look, she stared at Chen. Of course not, I didn't say that. Yukiko, you want to fall in love. Chen Shang spread his hands, and then went to call Xiaoban and the others. I didn't expect to get up so late today. When Shaolin walked out of the room, she was a little embarrassed. Usually, Shaolin doesn't get up so late. The reason why she woke up so late today is mainly because she slept 240 times more than last night, probably because she didn't get up so late. It's because of habit. To living here, Xiaolan feels that she is not used to it, and she wakes up late. It's not too late, it's still early for high school. I don't have to worry about getting hot at all. Chen said to Xiaolan. Zhang Zunchen called He and Yuanzi again, and the two of them slept soundly here. I was having a sweet dream. I didn't expect to be called up by you. It interrupted my sweet dream. He said to Chen, a little unhappy. Oh, then I don't know what dream you have, can you tell me about it? Chen asked He. Ask what that official business is doing, I won't tell you. He plus Yuhi's face was the same as Yuhi's push. Dreaming or something, why do you want to face Yuhi? Now seeing the appearance of Hai's face Yuhi, Chen feels that something is wrong, and Hai should have had some shameful dream. It seems that you have a dream. It's a bit special, Chen said lightly to He with a smile. What's so special about it? He's face was Yuhi's. This also made Chen's heart even more settled. And Guang gave He a strange look. Don't look at me, see, I'm going to wash my face. He straightened his hair, and then opened his mouth in a panic. It was not long after He left. Xiaoai came over, and after looking at Chen Zontan lightly, she said, I saw He running away in a panic just now, it has something to do with you. At the same time, Xiaoai also used that kind of strange look to look at it. Zhu Chen. As if Chen had just done something to He. Obviously, this is Xiaoai's distrust of you Chen. Of course it has nothing to do with me. Chen, of course, won't recognize these things in the country. Deny all of them directly, and firmly deny that it has nothing to do with me. What's more, this is also true. I really didn't do anything. At most, it's just a few words. HMPH, it's strange to believe you. Xiaoai snorted coldly and didn't believe what Chen said. She felt that when she was just now, Chen must have done something to He. Chen said that she was wronged. But looking at Xiaoai, it seemed that there was no way to call the injustice. Anyway, Xiaoai doesn't believe in herself, so she won't say these things. You don't believe me anyway, so I'm not satisfied. Chen waved his hand perfunctorily. You won't come here to find me. 2 inches Chen asked Xiaoai. Well, if I have something to help you, this is for you. Xiaoai took out Z capsules and handed them to Chen. What is this? Chen looked at the capsules that Xiaoai handed over and wondered. Is this the drug you developed? No, wrong, this is the antidote I researched last night, and now I want you to help me try it out. Xiaoai looked at AED_I Chen. She looked expressionless, and said that she wanted to let herself. Xiao Chong, who is testing the medicine Chen's heart is speechless. Well, now you actually treat me like a guinea pig, my heart hurts so much. Chen covered his heart and pretended to be sad. Put away the sadness on your face. I'm looking at you now, and I don't feel any sadness at all. Xiaoai withdrew her mouth and said, okay. It's useless for you to ask me to test the medicine. I can't get anything out of the experiment at all. Chen said to Xiaoai. I didn't say that I wanted you to test the medicine, I asked you to give this to Zhang Baichu and Conan to try. Xiaoai said to Lauren Byakugan, yes, this is going to be eaten in Henan. In the same way, this is the only guinea pig that Xiaoai can find, and only this guinea pig can test the effect of medicine. If the guinea pig is accidentally poisoned, it will die. Anyway, Xiaoai is not at peace. Think of Conan as a guinea pig, I really feel sorry for him. Chen said with a smile, and then Chendi didn't object, and took the medicine directly. Okay, I'll feed Conan next, and I also want to have the drug you developed. Chen patted Xiaoai's head, and then said to Xiaoai. Don't touch my head. Xiaoai patted Chen's hand in disgust. Xiaoai, why do you despise me so much? Touching Xiaoai's head, it was changed to defending Xiaoai. Well, his daughter Chen also knows that although Xiaoai seems to despise him on the surface, in fact it is not. The main thing is that Xiaoai is an elegant new person. It's up to you. I hope you don't screw it up. Xiaoai handed it over to Chen. Do you think you can screw it up? If you do, that can only mean that there is something wrong with the drug you have researched. Chen pouted and said, crap, you remember to record the situation, don't forget this. I want to see how the specific effect is. Xiaoai reminded Chen, Then why don't you do it? You can just do it directly. After that, I looked at Xiao Ai speechlessly and said, I think this kind of bad thing is not suitable for me to do at all, and you are the most suitable. Xiao Ai looked at Chen and said, I understand. It seems that what you mean, Xiao Ai, is that I am not a good person, so all bad things can be handed over to me. Let me do it. Right 2 inches. Chen bit Kiba and looked at Xiao Ai, but he didn't expect that in Xiao Ai's eyes. I am actually the image of a bad person. Drink is right, that's it. Xiao Ai didn't even refute it, which made Chen's heart feel a little sad. Okay. It's all a joke. If Chen does it, he can't bear any burdens. Next, Conan will be out of luck. But if Xiao Ai's medicine is effective, it's probably too late for him to be happy.